Tic Talk, Tic Talk, Tic Talk, Talk.
A real Celtic talk show by real Celtic fans from the Carluke Shamrock Supporters Club on Hail Hail Media.
Tic Talk, Tic Talk, Tic Talk, 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 Talk.
Right, hail hail and welcome to Tic Talk with the Carluke Shamrock Celtic Supporters Club, or I should maybe say the winter break, doors open, fully shambolic, unstructured, mental crazy, MD's invited through the door Tic Talk tonight. This is Monday the 7th of January 2013 and just as a wee special one, I sent a text out to all the mad panellists. I get a wheen of replies back saying I'm dying, I've got the man flu, I'm sick, don't talk to me, I'm off the work, etc, etc. But we've got a cracking team of bampots with us tonight. So let's run round the table first of all. We have
Stephen,
Vincent,
Kieran,
Brian, right side of the lights.
Peter,
Kevin,
Andy,
Scott,
Brian.
fantastic. And your host, Richard. The boss is back. We've got the two standing hosts beside us, or the future hosts as I like to call them in my retirement package. And thanks at this point to both Vincent and Brian for their sterling work, stepping into the breach.
I've retired.
You've retired. One show you've retired.
You're not retired as a panelist.
The listeners have retired.
The voting with their feet in their ears.
There was a download.
That was me.
Oh God almighty.
I'm with my panelist.
Richard, quite good with the Teflon off your shoulders passing it when you're
You see
out.
That's me, I'm at to
When's
pass
one of
it.
those Cornwall boys going to host?
It's building up to that, to be honest. They've said they want it to get to a certain level of quality before they step in.
And they might be waiting a while.
Brian, I've not got the right IQ.
When you start that with your private jokes here, boys. Right, okie doke. The rules tonight is there is no rules. I've got a few kind of topics and possibles written down, but these boys here will take us any which way we want. Just nice and relaxed tonight. I did give them a wee shambolic term that we'll come to at the end, obviously just to keep it proper. There's the two young teams scratching their heads and wondering, what did he say for the shambolic team? And they'll have to start thinking about it. But we'll kick off with just saying halfway here, want a break, half-term report if you like. Our good friend Liam Power, Brummy Boy, done his half-time report on the Hail Hail Media site. So a general how you feeling type thing, you know. Are you disappointed with progress so far? Are you over the moon with it? Is it middle of the road? Is there certain areas you're worried about or concerned about, etc.? So Kieran, I'm just picking you up at random. Just in a general sense, this is, sorry, let me make it clear, Celtic, right? No the league, no football, we'll discuss that at one point, but Celtic in particular.
No your marriage.
quite happy with the way things are going this season.
Quite happy.
I think the team could possibly be playing a little bit better. I think we've maybe got another couple of gears to go up. But
Right.
any big game this season where they've had to go up those gears, a game of importance, I think they've stepped up to the plate. So I don't think we can criticise them.
Right.
I think their performances at home could have been better, a little bit better. But all in all, we're still in every competition we started in. On the last 16 of Europe, if you had said that to us at the start of the season, I don't think there's a Celtic fan amongst us or out there who would have been disappointed with that.
Mm-hmm.
I predicted it.
You predicted that, did you, Brian?
No.
Is there anybody who's different for that, kind of more impressed or a wee bit less, a wee bit slightly disappointed, or is it all similar?
I would take issue with Kieran saying that the performances at home could be better. They could
Right.
be massively better.
Massively better, right.
But to be honest, the season...
This is out with Europe.
Aye.
Aye.
The season for me boils
Just-
down to 10 games this season so far. Really.
Right.
The 6 Champions League games and the 2 qualifying rounds.
Right.
Because that's, by and large, all we were interested in, making sure we got to the Champions League, which was a kind of holy grail, and looking forward to the games and get against Juve.
Sure.
I also thought the Hearts at Tynecastle was a big game though, because they were coming under a bit of pressure at that point. They had, I think, the 2 games before it hadn't really played particularly well. I think they maybe even had drawn or got beat the week before, and then went to Tynecastle and absolutely blew Hearts off the pitch.
Yep.
So just games like that, I think, games of significant importance, the team have come out with all guns blazing.
Although there was guys on Twitter after that game that were saying that we didn't actually play well and we managed to get 2 quick goals, and then we just kind of settled into a pattern of trying to stop parts of play. It was quite amazing that night, having been at the game and come home, because I tend to agree with you. I thought we just come out the box, the game was finished within 20 minutes.
Aye.
And but coming back, and people were obviously watching on the TV, and some of the comments I couldn't quite believe. So
Right, for what you'd seen and stuff.
Aye, the game, but I mean, just the Europe is what's actually carrying us through as a group, and as people who everybody around this table goes to the games week in, week out, and it's probably certainly what carried me. I'm glad there's a winter break. I was, to be
Right,
honest,
that was going to be one of my questions as well, what you're kind of thinking about this.
It's like the end of the season for me, to be honest.
It's getting a wee, I don't know the word I'm looking for. Parquet's becoming a wee bit of a chore at times.
All right, okay.
Sitting there. I mean, this team, you could write a script every week when you play at Parquet. They go brilliant for 20 minutes. And if they don't score a goal, they seem to get into this kind of, I don't know the word I'm looking for, they seem to get a kind of coma.
Play within themselves.
Aye. And
So just going to
Through the
switch
motions.
off, is it automatic?
And Saturday was a prime, last Tuesday against Mull was a prime example this season. They never started kicking the ball at Fraser Foster. They had a great 20 minutes.
Right.
Brilliant first
Kicked
half,
off
20
well.
minutes, missed a lot of chances. Fraser Foster makes a penalty save, now he's suddenly jumping into life. You know what I mean?
Does an element of that come from us? But
I think it's the crowd.
Ah, right.
because we didn't jump.
Say.
We didn't jump
Right,
into.
so Brian, is the crowd coming first? Is the crowd feeling, or is the team not getting the crowd going, or is it a cycle?
We start well. Peter's right. We seem to start well there the first 20 minutes, and see if we don't score.
Uh-huh.
We are actually in a thing that it doesn't go any further. And then the crowd everyone seems to die down. Green Brigade done brilliant. They're giving a bit of atmosphere,
Aye,
but it doesn't get picked up by the rest of the crowd, and I think it affects the players.
right.
Maybe
Aye.
you look at the Champions League games, you've got a buzz. I actually got the son of ours, our Mark,
Son of
the Barcelona, see the DVD.
That's the
See the
noise.
first 20 minutes in that, everybody just sitting, just listen to the crowd for the first 20
Just
minutes.
the
It's
noise.
incredible.
Right.
I can see why Skies want Celtic in the English Premiership. I can really see
In that
the
moment.
reason. Oh, Richard.
Uh-huh.
See the first 20 minutes, it was unbelievable.
Aye. Stephen, what the guys were saying there about Peter, so Peter was saying there about Fraser Foster, and then it clicks in. Have you seen that as well? Is it just home? Is it just the way you've been to quite a few of the away games as well this year? Is it, you seen it everywhere?
I think the word that comes into my mind is incentive.
Right.
And
So what Kieran was saying?
Kieran makes a point of going to Tynecastle and needing a result. I actually thought of the away game prior to that at Aberdeen when we needed the result. We'd come off a couple of bad results. European games, getting in there with an incentive. The players, to me, and particularly the home league games, look as if they've got nothing to play for.
Right.
They're going through the motions. They're starting games reasonably well. If we don't get an early goal, they're slipping into this kind of tippy-tappy type football.
Right.
Absolutely. You can actually... Some of the performances to me are epitomised by the individual players themselves. I mean, Kevin and I were talking, for example, of the game, the Motherwell game. Mm-hmm. You can actually watch Wanyama, for example, and you think to yourself, that guy has got 3 gears to go into if he needs to.
Right.
And I think that's epitomised across the whole of the team. Okay. And I think it comes down to the players not having an incentive in some of these games.
Right.
Does that go to the manager, but do you think that comes... It's up to the manager to motivate these guys to play that.
I think,
You know what I mean? Does that come back to him?
I'm a bit loath to criticise it, and I think when you start off with saying where are we this season and where have we got to, you think to yourself, bloody hell, this is fantastic. Last 16, it's all great. But like you, I've sat through some of these home games and start to, and I guess maybe it's something to do with Sevco not being there. It takes a wee bit of an edge. I don't particularly think it is that, but I keep getting back to the fact that these guys are all in their early 20s, right? And actually, she's trying to get into their mindset of what motivates them. In some ways, you actually think, I'm expecting Neil Lennon to be motivating them. I want them to come out of the traps every game. Do you know what I mean? So that their mindset is, no matter who they're playing, whether it's Arbroath, whether it's Peterhead or Elgin, I want them coming out of the traps for every single game and being hungry as hell, do you know what I mean, and blowing teams away. But that's the part I think that Neil Lennon's probably starting to develop now, that he's maybe struggling there, but he's got to get these guys motivated for these games. Now, in my mind, and probably every one of your minds, you shouldn't need to be motivated to play anybody, because we're all bursting our gut to play for a team like Celtic. But I try to get myself into the mindset of young 21, 22-year-old millionaires who have got, you know, the world at their feet, who in actual fact aren't motivated the same as we are. Now, that breaks my heart for a start, you know what I mean? Because actually I'm out there and I'm spending hard-earned money to watch these guys, and I expect them to be bursting their gut. However, the reality is they're no. You know, and actually,
and you're seeing that,
and it's a different mindset for the modern day footballer, I think.
Right.
You know.
Okay, no, Brian, do you first of all, do you see that with the team, and do you see it as a learning problem? And if you do, how should he try and adapt to that?
No,
Should
I
he
don't
shuffle
necessarily see it as the manager's problem.
Right.
Necessarily, I was just interested with what Vincent was saying with playing against Peterhead, Arbroath and Elgin were the three examples. I think he's getting fucking mixed up.
You're in the right podcast.
I think Jason Higgins has got a point. He didn't know you supported Celtic at school.
Right, so
strange examples to pick.
I was trying to find a team that you would struggle to get motivated playing against.
Sure.
Can I just pick up what you're just saying there? I watch a team, you watch them every week as well, probably, on the Sky, Barcelona.
Right.
Barcelona play the same way, doesn't matter what team they play, they play the exact same way all the time. Celtic played against us the exact same way twice. I watched them yesterday. Exact same
Did
again.
they play at the same tempo? But
That's what I was going to ask. Is it just a
You
technique?
can't tell that against the teams that you're playing against. And to me, I think to go back to the question you asked,
About the manager?
Should he, and you mentioned do the shuffle around, and I think that's what we need to do,
Right.
is to keep players keen to fight for their place. It's probably the only motivation that you can give them in these league games,
Right.
because we are a fair distance clear in the league now. I don't think we're going to get caught. It's fair to say the league is going to be won. There's the Champions League games aren't for another month or so.
Yep.
And after those two games, I'm hopeful we get through, but I'm reasonably confident as well. But those games, other than that, there's not massive incentive in those other matches.
Whereas for us, the incentive is you're playing for Celtic. Do you know what I mean? You're playing for Celtic. You're out there in a Celtic jersey. That's enough incentive. But for these guys, it's not. That's the point I was trying to make. Is the mentality of the modern day footballer is very different. I think that's my theory.
See with respect to the players, and coming back to the point about is it the manager's fault? Brian makes a point there about the Barcelona game and the atmosphere that night. The crowd, etc., etc. You follow that up with a home game against St Johnstone. I mean, you do have to put yourself into the mind of the players who are having to come down for these massive highs to these bread and butter type fixtures.
Right. Albert spoke about it, and he said it's so difficult to do it. He said we understand. Melby and Lennon have experienced that.
A natural thing then.
Absolutely, and I know how difficult it is for me as a supporter, getting excited and hyper and going along to the Barcelona game, and then 3 days later having to trudge along and play against St Johnstone. So you do have to kind of caveat the whole thing, I think, by the kind of highs and lows of the fixtures that we're getting thrown at.
Fair dues.
And even players kind of protecting themselves as well. If nobody can operate at 100% peak, top of their game every single game.
Sure.
And the players will have. It's only a natural thing for the players want to keep that 100% top.
See the key for me, Brian, is.
If you want to finish, please, Vincent, thank you.
Is this what it's been like,
Well, no one can ever finish their point with Vincent.
Now, keep it professional. Don't want the host fight.
So, they want that their best performances to be in the biggest games, and I think that
sure.
has an impact on it
So
as
it's
well.
almost subconscious. Right, you mentioned young millionaires, so let's go to the young team. That's the best example. If you put down your bottles of
Good
bucky
line.
and your
Good
Green
line,
Brigade
Richard.
scarves, take off your cheat the chill hats.
I was just thinking about what Brian was saying about.
That's Kieran.
No,
Oh, Brian.
Aye.
Brian for the wrong side of the lights, Brian.
about the home games where the crowd are not up for it after, like the first 20 minutes after get a spell out of corners and a bit of possession, and we're kind of all, like Motherwell were all over them for the first 15-20 minutes,
Right.
and then it died down end of the first half, start of the second half, and it became a bit kind of bored just to watch, and you were just hoping, even if it meant them coming at us for 10 minutes, it meant we would kind of,
All right.
if
Just
Motherwell
any
attacked
kind
it-
of spark.
exactly, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Whether it's us, whether it's them, whether it's the crowd.
Aye, even if Motherwell put pressure on us, I think it would kickstart us a bit, and
Right.
well, the penalty save, that's what happened.
Aye. Andy, for yourself, just in general terms, with Celtic overall, halfway point, how are
Well,
you feeling? Chuffed?
I'd agree with Scott.
So-so?
The first 20 minutes we were playing really well, and I commented to Scott, I think we're going to rattle this mob.
Right.
But
Is that the exact phrase? Rattle this mob. We've got a new tag. Hashtag.
Some of the hangovers he's had.
He only got out his parliament 6 months ago.
I tell you, that was a quote, that's what happened. You're going to rattle this mob.
And what happened to your bet?
and after that, they just went in, they were very lethargical, I think. They went in, it looked as if they dropped a gear, and then totally agree, the end of the first half, start of the second half, I thought, well, we weren't doing anything, but I thought Motherwell looked quite dangerous
Right.
a couple of times, but once the penalty save, I think that kind of got the crowd going, that got the whole stadium going and thinking, right, let's rattle this mob.
There's been too many games this season at Celtic Park that have almost been like training games.
Right.
But that when I hear about closed door games, we read the press or whatever, and they say a closed door. That's what I imagine.
Right.
3/4 of our games at Celtic Park this year have been just passing the ball, possession football, without the aim of seeming to want to go forward and score goals as a result.
And it's not something you're seeing on your aways?
No,
you're not seeing the travels?
I don't feel that. I feel the away performances are different. They've got a mindset where they know the games are going to be more challenging.
Right.
You don't get the same possession,
and teams are kind of up for playing against you. And I just think the games at Celtic Park, there's been too many where they have actually just been going through the motions.
Right.
And going back to as an example, that the atmosphere in the Motherwell game, the atmosphere in the first 20 minutes was as poor as it was after the first 20 minutes.
Right.
It was the Green Brigade, and that was it. The only time that the majority of the fans had any participation in the game was when the penalty, because they couldn't believe it was given as a penalty. Keeper made a great save, and for the next 10 minutes the place was just absolutely, I mean, there was a very, very loud, considering that the crowd that was there, I don't know, like 40,000 or something.
Right.
But until that, and lots of the games at Celtic Park have been like that as well.
Same thing.
I'm not expecting every, like Brian had said there earlier, I'm not expecting every player to be at 100% for every game, right? That's unrealistic. But see, when a player isn't at 100%, that's when I expect them to give 100% plus effort. Do you know what I mean? If you're saying they need to be, you want to see
techniques off.
Aye,
Sorry,
if it's techniques off.
Brian,
So, like, when
no,
those at 100%,
you want them to be 100%.
Let me salvage this.
No, I'll salvage it myself. If it's 100%, if you're looking for 100% ability and you want the person to be 100% on their game, right?
Aye.
And if they're off their game,
Right.
in terms of effort, I'm expecting more effort. If you're actually realising this isn't happening for me
Having a
today,
bad day at the office,
I'm
yeah.
expecting you then to just roll up your sleeves and get mucked in. And the thing that used to change a game, if you like, from the way you've just described it, when it just gets into that mundane, we're back to where we were again, is something like a crunching tackle, or do you know, maybe even a bad foul, do you know, get the crowd going, a penalty save, but a big incident in the game.
Right.
And actually, I'm expecting the players, when they realise it's not happening, just get the sleeves rolled up and get mucked in.
Right.
And that's actually what's happened quite a lot of the time at Parkhead. Although they've started, for example, against Motherwell, they started the game, were playing really well, made quite a few chances first 20 minutes, and then you went into that lull. I'm expecting somebody in the team or the manager to be able to recognise, right, we're in the lull, how do we get it out here? And actually somebody can change it, not necessarily be a piece of skill. Do you know what I mean? It can it can be a crunching tackle, it can be something where, and actually if the whole team's thinking we're not playing well, just get the sleeves rolled up and get mucked in.
Right.
You know, that's what I'm expecting for the team, and that's what we're not getting. And that's what's
Fair
quite
enough.
disappointing.
There's been a couple of quotes this year that's really going my lick a wee bit. Neil Lennon came out with a quote one time. Sorry, you're going to be Neil Lennon. It's the second time I'm going to go.
Take a wee note of that.
You're within elbow distance.
But what he did say is wait till the Champions League's out the road and then we'll kick on.
Right,
Which we have.
Right?
sure.
Oh, no Parkhead have no.
Well, we have. We're 9 points clear.
Statistics
When they made
wise.
that statement, we were in second place in the league.
And then we'll kick on.
Right,
And I'm sitting saying to myself, why?
right.
Why? Why does it take the Champions League to get the road? Have we not to buy a season ticket before you finish the Champions League? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the kind of what's coming across there.
No, it's not.
Well, that's
That's
how
the
I
way
took
you've
it.
taken
That's
it.
how you-
That's the way I've
that's
took
how
it.
you
aye.
felt
I don't
it,
think
aye.
that's
In the meantime,
intention.
we can beat with Kilmarnock at home, Brian.
I got a time when Neil Lennon said that I would have rather Celtic concentrated on the Champions League, concentrated on qualifying for the Champions League, and then concentrated on getting through the Champions League, whether that was qualifying into the last 16 as we did, or even the UEFA Cup. I would rather that was a priority than the league games.
We always knew.
I
that
wouldn't have disagreed with
we always
Lennon
knew that
said
we were going to win the league, and I'm the same as Brian. I would rather the team and the management concentrated on getting into the Champions League, then getting out of the group, and now that we're in the last 16, whenever we get to February, if the manager decides I'm going to play a group of young guys to preserve the guys that can inspire my team for a week or 2 weeks before they play against Juventus,
Right.
I wouldn't have any problems with that either.
I think it
Okay,
depends
those.
what you mean by, you know, the prioritising. I can understand what you're trying to say, Peter. Because if by saying we're concentrating on this, we're not really trying on this, I've got a problem with that as well. Because and maybe, you
And
know,
by the way, so's 20,000 Celtic fans who don't,
I think
they
so.
don't turn
I
up
think
every
so.
week.
But I don't think, particularly that's what Lennon meant. But I think what he was thinking is through this period, we really want to have 100% effort to try and get and qualify for the Champions League. We all wanted that. I think the problem we've got is, you know, that some of the performances in the league, we were actually thinking, are half of these guys sometimes trying? And I think if by prioritising you're saying that you're not trying as much in the league, then I have got a bit of an issue with that. So I would tend to agree with you.
There was one time we beat with Kilmarnock 2-0, right? In that particular game, remember it, Brian? Chris Commons. He turned around and said to me, he's going out for instructions. He wasn't there for instructions. He thought his number. He thought he'd put his number up.
Oh,
And he
right.
ran out.
To get
He
pulled.
thought he was getting subbed.
Right.
And when it wasn't him, it was somebody else get subbed. And you can see his body language, he's walking away like this.
Gutted.
You know, that's the kind of attitude they've got to Parkhead at times.
Right. And he's one of our better players this
Of
season.
course he
So
is.
he's been
They're all good players.
shining through.
They're all good players. I can leave a statement Saturday, that's the worst Celtic team. It's not the worst Celtic team for ability. What I'm trying to get across here is it's their attitude at times, really. There's 20,000 Celtic fans not turning up at Parkhead, Brian. They're not turning up.
I
For
don't
a
know
reason.
if that would change with, irrespective of the way the team's playing at the moment. I
think
don't
that's
know if
different
that,
reasons.
Aye, I think there's a number of reasons for that outside of. I think one of them is that we all feel. I think that we're going to win the league
Right.
without any problems. So there isn't that edge.
Aye.
There isn't that. We
See
need
that,
to
see
win
the start of the
every
season,
game.
Brian. See the start of the season. See that edge you're talking about. The edge got took off Celtic.
Right.
Right.
No,
It's
just
a
to
bad
go
thing in the
back-
league.
It didn't-
Bad thing.
Yeah, so you're half right. You said it there at the end. It's a bad thing in the league.
That's what I was
The
trying
edge
to-
get taken off in the league. It didn't get taken off
in what was the most important competition
Aye,
that we
I'm
had
not
to focus on.
disagreeing. Aye.
We
Right.
get through 2 qualifying rounds, and to be honest, we were all bricking ourselves
Oh, absolutely.
to even get through one, because when we draw originally, we thought if we lose this one, we don't have any European
That's
football.
it.
They got through that. We got through again into the Champions League, and then we managed to get to the last 16.
Right.
And as far as I'm concerned, I can put up with some of the other stuff,
Right.
the poor performances. It doesn't make me happy.
Sure.
I'm not a happy clapper saying ignore everything and only look at the Champions League.
Aye.
But I would be happy for our performances at Celtic Park to continue for the rest of the season the way they have been. If on the 25th of May we're all doing it at Wembley,
Wembley.
some big fan tent as I'm going in with my the
Kevin,
only ticket that my colleagues were allocated somehow managed to find its way into my pocket.
We're not going to be
Do you know what I
discussing
mean?
Motherwell
So,
20
I wouldn't disagree with the fact about the Champions League. I bought a season ticket. I thought I wanted it in the Champions League, and I was impressed how we did get away, because we won twice away from him, which we never get the recognition for, really. And then the league form, I turn up at Parkhead, I want to see my team win. You know what I mean?
Aye, sure.
That's about, I look at it
See,
just
just
as
to
a
go
clear
back-
fan.
We all do.
I just want to see Celtic winning.
Aye.
But see that getting beat with teams like Kilmarnock and Inverness, it's not good enough in my eyes.
Gets
Brian, see the point Peter made that about Lenny saying about kicking on. See, after the Spartak game, we won our next 5 league games. And that is kicking on. Now, what I would agree, we're probably not winning in the style that we would like to see.
Sure.
And I don't think anyone can argue with that. We'd like to see, you made a comment to me, football, where a lot of people have complained about Strachan's style of football.
Correct.
And Kevin said to me, that isn't any better.
You're seeing it.
The actual style isn't any better. And there's maybe something to look at in the transfer window where
I'm sitting here bitching.
Rick Wellman coming in.
But what we're looking for is to be in the last 16 in the Champions League and to be hammering teams 5 and 6-0 every week. And to be honest, that's just unrealistic.
Sure.
And we are sitting here bitching, and
That's actually not what I'm waiting for. That's
oh well, we're all looking for that apart from this.
That's not what I'm waiting for.
You're going to be bitching about if we're winning 5-0.
I'm not looking for that, Kevin. I'm not looking for that. I'm actually accepting.
Oh, so is it the attitude thing with you?
Well, I'm actually accepting what everybody else is saying about, you can't maintain that kind of level of skill and ability 100% all the time. So I'm accepting that you're not going to get that. The bit that's missing for me is when it's not happening. I'm looking for the effort. So I'm looking for these guys to be proud to be playing in that shirt. So if it's not coming off and we're not having a good game at Parkhead, what I've seen missing is a right good bit of effort for the team. And just what you said there about Commons, I've saw that about umpteen other players, that kind of...
This body language stuff.
Actually looked, Wanyama to me looked as if he'd already been transferred the way he was playing against Motherwell. He was just kind of swanning about.
Just seen him at Hibs.
Do you know what I mean? And actually, that's the bit that annoys me. So I'm actually not thinking I want to beat every team 5-0, and I don't want anybody to score a goal against us. It's not that at all.
Right.
It's actually less than that, and we're not even getting that in some. And actually, I don't want to be moaning, because actually I think I'm absolutely delighted where we are.
Exactly. I was just picking wee things and feeling about
It was a
where we
bad
are and
question
stuff.
with the host.
Well,
I think that's something.
Brian, it's no one I had about.
I would be right. Personally speaking, I wouldn't.
Do you know what? I think the reality is that we couldn't continue to watch that season after season. What we're watching in the league campaign as it is just now.
Right.
It would be far more torturous this season if we weren't where we are in the Champions League.
Right.
And if we go through 3 qualifiers next year, it then becomes a bit harder again.
Absolutely.
And
Is it
I think we wouldn't. We couldn't. I don't think next season and the season after and the season after and for the next 5 seasons. And this isn't about Sevco not being there. There's a small degree of that in my opinion, because there's the edge we're talking about. But the league's been like that for the last 4 seasons, 5 seasons, and they've been in it.
Right, okay.
Sorry, their previous incarnations were in it. So it's, for me, it's not the fact that Sevco aren't there.
It's not a new thing.
It's just state of Scottish football, to be perfectly honest.
Right, in general.
The other
And
thing
that's
is
a more fundamental thing.
we've not mentioned in this is the teams we're up against and their tactics. And
Okay, how they set their stall out against us and so on.
I made a comment in one of the previous podcasts about St Mirren, always come
Oh,
to
yes,
Celtic Park,
yes.
and even at their own ground, try to play football. Smyrna, the last game at home, 10 men.
Completely turned it.
The outfield, it was
6 along the back line.
6-3-0, and when they were attacking, it was a 6-3-1.
Right.
It was just
And that's
unbelievable.
Because that was one of the games we were talking about. We were getting excited about it coming up, and your beauty, finally a game of football, and then everybody was shocked.
And I
by
think
it.
a lot of the teams, and Kilmarnock, for instance, beating us, they've done to us what we done to Barcelona. I mean, they sat back and just hit us in the break.
Took
You
our
think
chance.
that's
But
a
the other
bogey
teams,
team?
sorry,
that?
Do you think Kilmarnock's a bogey team?
This year.
I'll go back to Tommy Burns era. We don't just remember that. Remember?
we all struggled against them down there, didn't we?
Never won down there.
I think Kenny Shields
two
had
seasons.
his number for a wee while. Kenny Shields, but he did.
Tactics
They
wise.
did sell the last
League
time.
Cup final and then
Aye, true. Right, Stephen, across from us we've got the Conley brothers, who just recently took in a Lanark game. So my question to you is this winter break a good idea or not?
Not for me, that's time, Lanark.
you football men, you're no blinker.
He takes another
Junior
junior
men.
Football men, you went to Lanark. You're saying no football.
I'll tell you, see if I go to another junior game, I'll take my boots with me because I'm getting on. That's how bad it was.
Right, there was a statement come out of terraces, right up there. And any chance of bringing the snow off the ball?
I thought you were going to say let's rattle this mob.
Can I just recognise a complaint? I think the third division should have a winter break as well, actually. I quite agree with
Brilliant.
I think it's
Playing the
unfair.
card. Right, Stephen, help me here. Winter break, good or bad? Something we should have.
Joke.
Aye.
Sorry, that was me.
It was just, it was bizarre. It was bizarre on Saturday. I tweeted I was going out on Saturday, no football. It was warm. There was no rain. There was no wind. The sun was coming out. No, absolute farce. The only good thing is it gives us a wee bit of a break for the turgid football that we're watching. Really, I suppose is the only good thing about it. But absolute nonsense.
Up all the Twitter photos for Abu Dhabi and stuff. You know, like
Aye, all the Dubai guys. I know.
The young team millionaires. What about the young team? Is it good? Is it bad? Should we have it? Does it rest the players, etc.? You're missing it. You're buzzing.
I think that's next. Is it not 2 weeks from?
No, it's a week.
19th.
19th we're back.
Back.
19th.
Yeah.
Oh, near enough. It's,
Hearts, one of your favourites.
Aye.
No, going to Hearts, but playing Hearts.
It's. I don't think it's a good idea actually.
No, anybody?
This was resurrected
players?
2 seasons ago or 3 seasons ago when Gordon Smith was still at the SFA, and I remember listening to it and he's like, we need a winter, but I think he'd actually maybe just been sacked for the SFA and he was on Radio Scotland within 2 weeks.
He resigned to look after his grandparents.
And he said, we need to get back to having a winter break. I was trying to get lobby hard for this, and nobody would take me up on it. But this just goes to prove that we need the winter break. And he was talking about games that had been cancelled for like 3 Saturdays in a row. In the last 2 weeks in November, and the first week in December, or the last week in November, first 2 weeks in December, when we had all that terrible weather. Remember it snowed for like the middle. The snow was on the ground for the middle of November through to the end of January.
Just ridiculous.
And yeah, so they'd all these games cancelled at that point, end of November into start of December. But the winter break they've chosen is January.
Aye.
So they've justified it, saying, we need a winter break because of these games get cancelled. You live in Scotland. Get over it. The best thing you can do is have an early warning system where if the snow is 2 foot deep in the ground on a Thursday or a Wednesday, then you make the decision at that point that the game's off. You can't legislate. As Stephen says, I was in Glasgow Saturday, 13 degrees as I was driving in, crystal clear blue skies, smashing day, perfect day for football, a perfect
But
day.
not your trunks, Kevin. I think you overdid it.
A perfect day for the driving. A perfect day for more people to get out to watch football.
Aye.
Better than the days in the lead up to Christmas there, when it was miserable. And you're taking the Wednesday game, you're just there's no fun in it. You're sitting there, you're freezing your buzz off. Excuse me the language, but it's.
There are other genitals available.
Couldn't explain that.
It's a non-sexist podcast.
Nonsense, correct.
There's just something
Kennedy,
fundamentally
everybody
wrong
listening.
about it.
Aye, right. So if we get injured players and stuff, does nobody like that benefit, or should we just have the squad that we change it and we rest them? You know, your Izagiris and so on, your Chris
I
Commons
think it gives the
injuries.
second and third division teams an advantage. Because see when it comes into... Because remember you're coming back into the Scottish Cup here.
Okay.
All the Premier League teams are well rested.
Dark road here, right? Okay.
And they've been playing week in, week out up until that round.
I'm kind of torn between.
I'll take you back to Clyde.
It's a week and a half.
Oh, don't play the Clyde
That's
card,
nothing to
man.
do with a winter break.
Don't take
I'm
it.
starting to think I would
Straight
play
after the
like,
winter break.
Yeah, that wasn't why we get beat. Because we were shocking.
We were shocking, he's got a point there. But was it the break? Was it being
I'm
watched
starting to think I would maybe be in favour of like summer football, but actually, how long and dark would the winter be with absolutely no football? That's the bit that actually I struggle with. Do you know what I mean?
Need to take up
It's
balls.
long enough without football.
Up to Lanark, there you go. Half season ticket,
Like the
no?
Pallins VIP.
No, we're getting away off tangent
I'm
here.
kind of neutral on this winter break. I don't feel strongly for or against it. It doesn't.
Right.
I think what Kevin said at the start, I thought it was quite good getting a wee break, but probably more the way the team's been playing at home.
Right.
But then, I can't say I've missed it.
I'll tell you one thing. We've got a serious challenge looming in our hands. Should we have any replays? Should we get through the next round of the Champions League? Because in Scotland, it was only a couple of years ago that on the 31st of March we had a snowstorm that I mean, remember there was the accident that the kids up at Lanark Grammar. So you can get weather like that occurring in Scotland, almost anyone.
But they'll be fine. The SFA will give us an extension.
But they're usually quite supportive.
Because you get that weather up in shots in the summer.
The shots.
We're already a game behind. We still haven't managed to catch up the game
Dundee
from
United
the when we went to
Why
play
was
Real
that
Madrid.
cancelled before Christmas? That was
Because Arbroath replay in the cup.
Oh, so it was
But
quite
there was still a free weekend after that they should have rescheduled it and they didn't reschedule. And this is actually what happened, because I went going back to that situation a few years ago when they managed to get to Manchester.
And they got the extension then.
There was two free kicks, two free weekends before Christmas, and they chose not to play.
Right.
And I actually caught up on them because they ended up having a couple of cup replays, and before you know it, they were up against it, and that could easily happen to us.
Aye.
We've got the cup semi-final at the end of January, so we've already got that game, which will be moved to a midweek. We've got the Champions League. If we get a cup replay when we play Wraith Rovers, then that's another game to add in. If we get to the cup final, which we hope we beat St Mirren, then that game that weekend will need to be moved to a midweek. It could easily start to catch up on us.
Starts to pile up big
There's
stuff.
no stress about it.
What's no
I'll be
panic?
happy to play 3 games a week at the end of the season.
Aye, definitely. Right, let me pull you back onto the kind of half-time report cards then. I mentioned earlier about Brummy Boy doing his wee report, and what he did was the goalkeepers and defenders and stuff, so I'll grab some of his. Kieran, Fraser Foster, half-time report card.
He's had a great season so far. I think since the middle of last season, he's one of the players in the team. There's a number of them, but he's one of them who hasn't looked back. I think I read that report by Brummy Boy about. I think he mentions the penalty save that he made against Hearts.
Aye.
And that just seemed to be the making of him, and I don't think he's looked back. He's had a great start this season, and his performances in the Champions League have gotten 2 call-ups to the England squad. So
Aye.
I think we were actually talking about it the other week, about Joe Hart,
Yes.
and if Foster keeps on going, I think he could easily replace Joe Hart.
He's lost a wee bit of form.
He's lost one. I mean, I watched
month or
it.
so.
I didn't see the games. I think that it was the first weekend after Christmas. I think Man City played West Ham, and Joe Hart lost a terrible goal. The ball's
Sunderland, was it?
it was coming right at his face, and he kind of moved out the way, but didn't think to put his hands up, and the ball went right in the net.
Right.
So he's lost a bit of form, and I think if Foster keeps it up, then I think he could be.
He's finally going to get that.
I think
get
he
that
could
breakthrough.
get the number 1 slot with England, and I hope so, because
Aye.
he deserves a bit of recognition for his performances for us.
He'll not be playing for us.
I was going to say that.
Aye.
Aye. The unfortunate thing is that'll not happen well as at Celtic.
No
If we need
chance.
to go to Liverpool or Arsenal or somebody will come in for him.
Man United's his move.
Right, do that. That comes first. no matter what he does.
Aye. No,
yeah.
no way in my mind he will be England's number one while playing for Celtic. None.
Okay. Brian, let me throw Adam Matthews at you. What's your thoughts on him at this midway point?
I think he's been injury prone.
Injury prone.
He has been.
Performance-wise,
He played well. Barcelona, he was outstanding.
Yep.
That was his best game ever in a Celtic jersey. And they're playing him and the other big boy, the Swedish boy. He seemed to get in. Next one, they're out for 3 weeks. I don't know what's happening between the two of them. With the two right backs, it seems to be quite strange, Richard, because you see me play for a couple of weeks, then next thing you don't see them for 2 or 3 weeks. So, he's played well. Every time he's been in, he's played well. In my eyes, anyway.
Nice one. Vinny, jump over to you. He's a Gary.
Aye, again, injury prone season for Azagiri, and still doesn't seem to have got his full confidence back.
Right.
You don't see him hearing for the byline like he did when he first arrived. Actually, one of the other podcasts was talking about that, and it was the question was, is it that? Is it to do with him and his confidence and his ability, or is it more to do with other teams recognising how to stop him type thing, you know? How to show him inside, or rather than, and he's just not getting the opportunity to get to the byline.
Or who's playing with?
Or possibly who's on the same side as him, aye.
Right, okay.
I mean, because that player is still there. It's just, I think more recently, he's certainly looked better. He went through a sticky period where, I think one of the podcasts we spoke about, do you persevere, like we were talking about Hooper was similar, you know, do you persevere with them and try and let them play through it?
Aye.
Or does the guy need a rest? Do you need to take him out the team? And he persevered with him, and I think he's beginning to find a bit of form, but he's a shadow of the player he was.
Right, okay.
Which is slightly worrying.
Aye.
I was hypercritical of him in the last 3 or 4 games. I think he's been by far the worst player that we've had on the pitch.
Aye.
I thought at Hibs they just played Doyle up against them, and MD with any kind of physical presence just ragdolls him now.
Right.
And I can't ever remember that being the case. He always seemed to be able to stand his ground.
Aye.
We even got to the point in the Hibs game, goalkeeper was taking a free kick from outside the box, the Hibs keeper, and you know how they kind of overload the pitch, the players all go to one side, so everybody moved to the one side except for Doyle, who was playing against Azagiri.
Right.
And you would naturally think the ball's going to go when most of the players are. They just launched it diagonally, and they just kept doing to Doyle, and Doyle just out-muscled them, got his head in the ball, and Hibs had a chance. And I just think that teams are actually pinpointing him absolutely as the weak link of the team. In the last, we spoke about this in one of the podcasts we did a while ago, and he did seem to get a bit more fitness about him. He seemed to be getting back up and down the line, prepared to take people on. The last 4 or 5 games, I just think he's been
really worrying then, eh?
Aye.
Brian, I think Brian makes a good point. No, I like him when Joe Ledley's in front of him. I think Joe Ledley gives him a bit of extra protection, but to me he looks like a guy, his confidence is completely gone, he's a shadow of himself. He actually looks as if he's sticking to his man as well. You know, when we're breaking forward, he's doing that kind of hiding, you know, when you can make that burst and make a bit of space for yourself, demanding the ball. He's not doing that.
Aye, because when Sammy's in front of him, Sammy's running into that space, or he's passing the ball to Sammy and Sammy's running with the ball into that space. So there's not that same kind of partnership that he's got with Ledley as well.
Right.
But I would agree he's struggled.
I agree with that. Samaras playing in front of him, I think, creates a bit of a problem for him, because he doesn't get the defensive cover that he would perhaps get with Joe Ledley, or even to a certain extent Charlie McGrew kind of playing at that side of the park. And as Brian says, Sammy's running into the space that otherwise Azagiri would or should be running into.
Should be there. Okay, fair enough. Stephen, Effie Ambrose, Mr. Cool, as Brummy Boy called him, I think.
Yeah, not half. Pass marks for me, looks better in some games than he does in others. I think the most impressive thing for me about Ambrose is
his goal celebration.
That was a celebration.
He needs to learn to these misses for 2 yards out, right enough. he'd won at the weekend again, didn't he? He'd won one against Hibs for under the bar that he somehow managed to put over as well.
Yep.
But the thing I like about him most is actually his partnership. I think he actually looks, him and Kelvin Wilson look like a pairing.
Right, okay.
So from that point of view, I think he's been a fantastic signing because he really is making Kelvin Wilson look like a young Rio Ferdinand.
Brian, let me throw Mr. Wilson over to you. Young Rio Ferdinand?
I don't know. I don't think he's as bad as Rio Ferdinand. I think he's a lot better than him.
What about his half-time report? Mr.
Delighted.
Kelvin
We've
Wilson?
had a number of podcasts where we discuss Kelvin Wilson, and I think a number of people, Kevin I think also said you need to give him time.
Aye.
Because I think we were all a bit sceptical.
Frankly, I think it was the only one that said give him time.
Come on.
I can remember Hamilton Tim was like, go any time he wants as far as I'm concerned.
I come in late though and I backed you up.
Aye, Hamilton was drinking that night. That was a special
He knows
podcast.
nothing about football.
He knows nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Peter, the prodigal son, Charlie Mulgrew, how would you rate him so far?
I think Charlie's been fine. He's no complaints for Charlie at all. Just like step back a wee bit. Ambrose, do any of you see Ambrose's position as maybe a replacement for Wayama as a defensive midfield player? Front of your two centre halves.
I actually thought Ambrose had a good game at Easter Road, and he was kind of playing midfield that day, wasn't he? Do you not think?
I thought the team at Easter Road, they played in midfield.
Second half.
He upset the whole team then. Lennon with his selection, because he dropped Kyle, he put Rodney at centre back and Ambrose in midfield. Why didn't he? Why did he just
keep the partnership?
Keep the partnership and
go back to the partnership. I think Ambrose.
That's what.
The worst complaint I have about Ambrose is at times against the lesser teams, he just feels it's a bit easy for him, and that's when sometimes it gets caught. See all his best games. The bigger the game, the better he plays.
Right.
The only game I would have any criticisms was the Moscow game at Celtic Park, where MNAK are kind of was very physical against him and out-muscled him a few times, and that's where the goal came from.
Sure.
But by and large, I think the bigger the game, the better his performance has been.
Performance.
See, to get back to what Peter said, though, I would agree. I think he can play there.
I think he can play anyway.
The Wanyama replacement type thing, Wanyama cover.
Cover. I wouldn't say replacement because I want Wanyama to stay.
No.
I know what you're
That's
saying.
realistic. We all know why Yama's going to move. I mean,
All players will move eventually, but
it's in the summer. It's the summer.
Well, we'll wait and see.
Right, well, we'll talk about January moves
We'll wait and
actually.
see.
Well, you've just talked about somebody there, Azagiri. Celtic can't knock any money back for MD because Azagiri 2 seasons ago, before he broke his leg, talked about a £10 million player.
Aye.
Now you're lucky if you get £1 million for him.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So you've got to weigh that up as well.
We've spoken about that many times in the podcast, that we're a team asset, that need asset, and I know we've spoken at least 2 or 3 that I've been on, that we could have got that money. We didn't. He broke his leg, and before you know it, you've got a challenge. Arthur, as far back as Arthur Boric, it happened. We could have got 7 or 8 million for him potentially.
That's right.
2 seasons later, you get $1.5 million when he kind of goes to Fiorentina or whatever.
I think what Ambrose gives is that composure, do you know. And I know there's sometimes a fine line between composure and he's over egging it sometimes, you know, and he gets a wee bit lackadaisical. But see that composure there. You see him on the ball, the way he steps away, or he'll turn back, and actually see the time that gives the rest of the team. And actually, I think it's done what you said, Brian, about Wilson. It's settled him down a bit. He doesn't, you know, he feels, he looks relaxed, and he looks like the player that we thought we were getting the first time. But Huggy Bear, I call him Ambrose. I think he's fantastic. He's fantastic.
Andy boy, Michael Lustig, half-time report card.
Well, the first time I seen him, I wasn't too keen on him. He never done it for me. But recently, he's really impressed me. Recently, I think I'd agree that he's been in and out. He's been in and out of the team.
Right.
But I think when he's been in the team, he's impressed. He's impressed, definitely. But I think the only problem is that he's in and out, him and Adam Matthews. I don't know what the setup is there. But especially in the big games in Europe, I wasn't too sure when I seen him in the team sheet for some of the European games, but he definitely stepped up to the plate and impressed me.
You surprised
I
you
think
there?
so.
I think
Definitely did.
I think you can't. The highest compliment you could possibly play him is he was in the Champions League team of the week for the Moscow, the victory in Moscow.
Aye.
And to have come from where he was, where I don't think, certainly no Celtic fans I spoke to fancied him for a long time, and that was probably the Fraser Foster moment. We speak about the save against Hearts where we're winning 1-0 and he saved the points that day with his injury time penalty save last season. I think probably the Moscow game over there when we got our first Champions League away win was when Lustig kind of came of age as a Celtic player, and since then he's put in probably a number of good
we didn't really
performances.
give players much time, David. Do you know what I mean?
That's getting back to what we spoke about. Stubbs it took a while. Big Elliott took a while.
Do you know what I mean?
And last season, going back to Wilson was got a horrendous injury last season up at Ross County.
Yep.
It was an assault. The boy should be sent off. It was shocking. No comment. Boy didn't. He did get booked, and he didn't play for months after that. Then he came in the team and he struggled, and he was giving away bad goals, like the one at Hearts in the semi-final where he headed it 5 yards. Things like that were happening, and people were going his back. Fans were get rid of him, blah blah blah. And it just shows if you can give people a wee bit of time.
Build yourself back. Aye, definitely.
We'll see how much we miss the defensive partnership in the first couple of games
When
back,
Effie goes.
because Effie's away to African Nations Cup,
Yes.
and Kelvin Wilson's suspended unbelievably for the first two games.
So what's happening? Is that Thursday? His hearing on
It's
Thursday?
done. They basically
Done,
upheld
Was it last week?
Aye, done and dusted.
Was it?
Aye.
Aye.
So
And
then they
despite,
Done being the word.
so despite the Dundee player coming out and saying it was an accident,
Aye,
he,
that doesn't matter.
Sorry, hold on. So he was offered 2 games. He appealed against that. So he's now been given 3 games. He's been given more. Is it still?
they upheld that. Upheld his ban, the correct term. Basically, he's getting the same punishment
Two
given
games.
out. They're not cutting out.
Whether you accept it or no.
Stephen Cragen was the witness he used.
Allegedly.
You can't argue that.
Aye.
Scott, let me throw a last defender at you, Thomas Rodney. You're accepting that one.
That's what that tells you.
Oh, Kevin, you're Lenny. Hurry up.
The game against Hibs just last week or a couple of weeks ago, he was back in out of nowhere. And the game, up in, was it Tannadice, he started and he got injured and he looked shaky, he wasn't even on the pitch long, and he got injured and took off.
Yep.
And he keeps throwing him in without much. I know he was in the team like last season or when he was playing with Majstorovic a while back, but he gets
Oh, you're getting
he
back.
gets
Yeah, you're getting back.
thrown in
Big
in
Dan.
these kind of tougher game. Dundee United away is no easy game by any means, and he's getting thrown in. I don't think he's we need to, if he's going to get back in the team, he has to be eased in, because he's no a player you don't want to be.
Chicken leg.
You don't want to be throwing him in them
Chocolate.
just
But
games.
see that Hibs,
That kind of
the
thing.
Hibs game, and I've just realised through subsequent conversation that obviously Ambrose is going away in the African Nations Cup, so maybe that's why Len
Brought him in.
brought me in to
Sure.
decide Wilson, thinking, well, they're going to be my partnership potentially for the next.
A better start here.
He must not have confidence out of Rodney when he goes and signs another centre half.
Well, this is a new guy at centre half.
He's a left-sided centre.
What's the story of this guy? See, he's not played since. I've not really caught up with
He
it.
might have to play with Rodney
a couple
because
of years at Anderlecht.
Aye.
at Hampden it might be the new boy in Rodney. Is Kelvin Wilson's banned for that? Is Ambrose away by then? When does he go?
Ambrose is away
Nations.
now.
Aye, he's left.
Aye, he's
Is he?
left.
So
Next week.
Hamden will Kelvin Wilson's banned. So
I would actually put Charlie back in there. That's what I would do. 'Cause
Oh,
he's always
good
trying to get
Charlie.
Charlie.
I would
He's
think.
always grown.
When
wants
Yama
Charlie
can
in the
always
team.
fall. When Yama can always fall back as well, depending on what the midfield does. But when you're talking about Thomas Rodney, I read the report by Bromley Boy,
Aye.
and he makes, I can't remember what the line was, but he was insinuating that perhaps Thomas Rodney is the best centre half at Celtic just now. And
What?
if he thinks that, then I want
Liam,
to know what
come on,
Thomas
man.
Rodney he's watching, because as Kevin says, he's absolutely made of chocolate.
Yeah.
He defends facing his own goal.
Right.
If you watch him, he always lets the ball run across him, facing our goal as opposed to facing the play.
The one thing I would say is
Deflecting
he's still a young defender. He's still potentially developing his experience. He hasn't played as many games as anyone would kind of want him to play. Certainly, I'm sure he was expecting to play more games. He's been out injured an awful lot, and it's just unfortunate that when he comes back, and there's been a few false dawns with him where he has come back and he looks as if he's stepping up to the mark, and then he gets injured again and he's out, and then he comes in and he
Resets
gives
the
away
clock.
a goal, and people are just a wee bit like Wilson, I guess, in one respect, albeit he's been there obviously a good bit longer than Wilson. Maybe we just need to see how he develops. I mean, going back to what we were talking about earlier on, the league, we've got a comfortable cushion now. He's going to be playing for the next 4 or 5 games, you would imagine, because Ambrose, I think, even Nigeria are one of the favourites, and potentially he would miss the Juve game if they get to the final. So I mean, that Juve game's when the 12th.
Right.
So I mean, we're looking at another 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So he's certainly going to be playing a clutch of games.
A good stint.
And I think we'll probably have a reasonable idea.
He might be regretting when he came out and shot his mouth off.
Aye, well, that's what I was going to say to it. I think the fans have got on top of him a wee bit as soon as...
Because that happened, it was terrible at Hibs.
Aye.
For the goal, it was shocking.
And the fans have lost a bit of patience with him because he's... Whatever it is he's asking for, he's no worth it. 'Cause he's no worth what he's on.
Right, wrap us up, Kev, for this one with Lenny, the manager. Half-time report.
Young manager, still learning his trade. I think some of his kind of team selections have been very, very good in the Champions League. There have been some kind of inspired managerial substitutions. I thought even bringing wee Forrest on out in Moscow was kind of brave when they went down to 10 men. And then on the other side of things, he's made some poor decisions.
So it's that learning thing.
I think he's trying to develop a style of play where it's a bit. So I'm not going to say it's like Barcelona, that type of football, but I think he wants to develop a style of play where it's week in, week out, they play to that style.
Right.
And the players can fit in.
Aye, so he takes a player off and he puts a similar type of player in who knows what's expected of them in that role.
Right.
And a kind of consistency in a style of play. To be honest, I think we're probably more suited to playing European football just now, rather than domestically at Celtic Park when we expected to come on to teams and they sit back. I think the European away games have kind of shown that. I mean,
I heard someone saying we're actually a better team without the ball. We don't have a lot of ball.
Right.
And we can hit another team on the break. We're more dangerous.
We're relying a lot on set pieces as well, do you know? So in actual fact, when you've not got the ball, if we've got Charlie in the team, we'll get a goal maybe for a decent set piece. And you're right, in some ways, sitting back like we played against Barcelona, in some ways we can be
dangerous.
Better. We can be better.
Saturday's goal, Tuesday's goal was a great goal. See the goal against Motherwell? That summed them up. That was a breakaway goal.
Aye.
Boof, boof, boof.
Aye, quick move.
It was.
Right.
Fast.
Okay, boys. Right, I want you to I'm going to do a kind of quick fire thing round a lot of you. What you think of 3 players. Your best player so far, so player of the half season if you like. The most impressed one, most surprised one, maybe a guy that's came right out of left field for you and you've been shocked by how good he's been. And the person you think who's got most room for improvement, maybe you've built him up to high standard, you've been kind of, no totally gutted by him, but maybe slightly disappointed. Okay, so that's your 3 to think of. While you're doing that, I'll tell the listeners a couple of mentions. We've been asked to big up the Jack Dempsey's Manhattan #1. They're having their annual Christmas bash this Friday. I don't think we can fly over in time, unfortunately. But the Amadans are playing there, so if MD's on holiday over in sunny New York, they can get in touch with the boys and take part in that. Also talking about the stateside, our good friend Graham Wilson from Beyond the Waves, he's actually coming over to Scotland. This is a guy who does the Beyond the Waves podcast on Hail Hail Media, loves Celtic to bits, but never actually came to see us. He's not had the kind of luxury of being here, and he's now finally getting the chance to come over. So he's coming over in February for the big Juve game, and then I think he's staying to the Sunday after that as well, so the Dundee. So Graham will be welcoming you with open arms. Hopefully you have a safe trip. I know you don't like the planes. Right, boys, so your three guys. So let's start with the best one, the player of the half season. Stephen.
The goalkeeper.
Big Foster, yes.
Foster for me, yeah.
Aye. Wanyama.
Fraser Foster.
Foster.
Gary Hooper.
Oh, Hooper, right, okay. The young team.
I'd go with Gary Hooper as well.
Okay, 2 for him.
Fraser Foster.
Oh, keeper.
Sammy.
Oh, Mr. Europe. Mr. Europe. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Nice wee balance here. Kevin, player of the half season. Who's playing the best?
I went for Sammy.
You're not allowed to pick him. That's right. I've bagged him. I've had for Sammy. That was brotherly love.
I'm going for Fraser Foster based upon European performances.
There you go, another keeper one. Right, the most impressed ones. The guy who's really kind of shocked and surprised you in a good way. Stephen.
Kelvin Wilson.
Wilson. I didn't have time to think about it. Right, we're jumping you.
Huggy Bear.
Kelvin Wilson. Aye.
For his goal alone against Barcelona, Tony Watt.
Oh, Tony boy, right, okay, nice one. Kev.
Lustig.
Oh, shit, after all the chocolate stuff. Ah, right, okay.
That was wrong, eh?
Fair enough. Oh, sorry, so it was. That's who you were talking about.
Richard.
I'm
Young
on
team.
Lustig as well.
Lustig.
Definitely.
Is that a double for the young team? No? You changing?
No, it could be.
But he wants to say Matthews. I've actually got two.
Yeah, cheat. Kelvin Wilson. Brian.
Sammy.
Oh, brilliant. Why is it my two hosts that are struggling for the answer? When I gave you
No, I had mine again. They said Lustig, and I'm like,
You're allowed to say Lustig, I know you are.
no, Tony Watt.
Oh,
I think
for
Tony
God's
Watt is.
I've already got Tony
I'm going to be a star. He is going to be a star.
Okay, nice one. Most room for improvement. Stephen, back to you to start us off.
Vincent.
He's going to steal mine again, I bet.
He doesn't he? Won't he? Wait to see us.
Can I go first?
Tell him.
Gary Hooper.
Gary Hoop. Okay. Ooh.
Controversial.
See, this is why I like us. This is why I like us.
He's a Gary.
He's a Gary.
Gary Hooper as well.
2 for Hooper.
James Forrest.
All right, okay. Right, okay.
Forgotten, man.
Oh, yeah.
Most improvement.
Right. You're expecting more, you're hoping for more, you maybe set it up a bit higher at the start of the season. It's not that he's crap, it's just that, that's a
Can't
pity.
go for James Forrest the same as Brian.
Forrest, you can indeed, aye. No, but a brotherly love there. Kevin?
Aye, as a Gary.
Is it Gary?
He's a Gary as well.
Gary Hooper.
Gary Hooper again, okay.
I'm going to go for Izzy Gary.
Is it
By a
Gary?
distance, and I think the two Connolly brothers are being a wee bit unfair on James Forrest, who's been injured most of the blooming season.
However, when he wasn't, he struggled. So he's got a way
But
to
that
go.
can be part of it, you're expecting more, but sadly...
They didn't comment on yours, just...
Exactly, aye.
I just
I'm just
thought
about
I'd
to
add that.
comment as a Gary. How can he improve?
Exactly. Real opinions by real fans. That's what it's all about. Right, Juventus, you kind of dabbled about it, Europe, etc. Are we going through? Are we fear? Are we excited? Are we gutted?
Are we going?
We gutted, we got that. No. You told me Juventus was the worst possible game you could go to.
Wee brother found the best route.
The stadium's a nightmare. The journey's atrocious.
I found the
The
route.
cops, the fans.
Aye, no, they are all bad. But we've got magic plans.
Oh God!
We, irrespective of what happens, we will be the top of Europe.
Aye, correct.
Irrespective of what happens, we will be the top of Europe.
Are you going with them, Steve?
And three of us will be blitzed, and he's driving.
Oh God Almighty! You're no part of this.
On the
Shut
way
up, aren't you?
back, we're staying in Chamonix, which is at the foot of Mont Blanc, which is the
Are you skiing?
highest peak in Europe,
Right.
and you can get a cable car to the
Jesus.
top
Dear.
of Europe,
That was-
Richard.
This isn't cute.
So we'll be the top of Europe.
This is TikTok.
Last day after we play them, and the day after we'll be on top
Wasn't a
of
James
Mont
Bond film that and it broke down?
As long as it doesn't snap.
I hope that doesn't happen. George bit through the cable, didn't he?
That's not an omen, is it? Oh, no. Right, so we've got 3 Mad Macaulays gone. Young Team Millionaires, you's gone, no. The Lanark kind of royalty.
I'm not going, I'm saving myself for the next round.
The next round, oh, I love it.
That's my trap.
Fantastic. And you were going, but because Hibs beat Celtic, your wife won and you have to stay home, is that right?
Aye.
In your green household. Right, what's the thoughts in general? We're kind of worried about it. Because of what we've done against Barcelona, who wants to throw into the mix first?
We're going through.
We're going through. End up, we're going to rattle this mob. Is that rattle them? What's the thoughts? Right, 2 games. Are we taking them both? Is it a AG one? How does it
I've
work?
just been thinking about it nearly every day, and I think we're going to beat them
Every day.
That we're going to.
What do you mean nearly every day? I've been thinking about it every day.
He's back
It's where I wake up,
I wanted to sound
He's back at school. He's back at school
today.
Exactly. So how's it going to happen?
I think we're going to beat them 1-0 here.
Right.
I don't like the 20, but I think
Okay.
we've got to score over there. So if we can get beat 2-1, I know that sounds bad, but if we get beat 2-1, I think we're either going to get through in away goals, or I think it could be an extra time one, depending on the results, but it could be 2-1 over here to us and 2-1 over there.
Right. Anybody gutted when the draw came out?
Yeah.
Peter? Aye.
Oh,
So
I
who
didn't
you
want to
hope
go
for?
to run.
Were you one of the Malaga boys or Schalke?
MD
or-
bar them.
Is it one of those
Basically,
ones? Right. They were in that
That's the only
pot
place
on
in
their
the
own.
world I want to go and watch
So
football.
even Dortmund would have been better for you. Is that how high you kind of put them on?
Dortmund. Germany's fantastic to go and watch a football.
Alright, sorry, is it more so the actual draw than the team?
Juventus don't fear me if that's you. I don't fear Juventus. No.
Crap trap.
Aye, right, so that's what
Unless
it
you're
is.
going to the new stadium and we're going to put them out in the last 16, so...
Then go to the highest point in Europe. Aye, we've heard of this. Brian, gutted?
I was, because that was the only place I didn't want.
Aye, and it's the place. It's
It
not
was
the
the place,
it's not
because
fear
I've
of the
heard
team.
stories for everybody talking about going to Turin,
Aye.
dry city, no suit of Celtic fans,
Mm-hmm.
like a wee baby, atmosphere going in that, and just thing like that. I just get put off by it, like.
Right, okay.
So I was the same as Peter. Seen I heard the draw, I was like, got to be joking. And I actually tell you, Jackman, before it, if we go to him, I wasn't going, so I couldn't really get back.
Oh, you haven't got yourself.
It wasn't a schoolboy era thing, because I was never going. It wasn't a schoolboy
You can
era.
go
That
with
was
Vinny to the next
even in
round.
equation.
We'll go to the next round.
But you have to start the journey for Lanark. Right, Stephen, you're famous for munching the scarves at the big games. When this one kind of comes up, how confident are you going to be? Do you know at this point?
It's a tough fixture, isn't it? Biggest challenge for me, to be honest, is going to be the away game. You know,
Right.
they've got a brand new stadium. I've watched a few of their games. It's
Have
a
you?
really tight 40,000 seater stadium.
Oh, it is.
Really atmospheric. Fans right on top of the park. I think we're only going to have a couple of thousand tickets.
-3 for the Macaulays.
I think we could beat them at home, but I think we'd need to be a couple of goals ahead of them from the home game.
Right, okay.
To be honest, to have a chance. I still think we've got a chance, but I think of all of the teams that we could have got, both off the park and on the park, I think it's probably the
Least attractive.
least attractive and the most dangerous to us.
Right. Okay.
I think...
Yeah, no,
I wouldn't say they're the
convinced.
most dangerous. I agree with slightly with Steve. I
It's still off the park.
think they're more dangerous opponents than them, but
Aye.
I don't know. I disagree with a wee bit. I think we're more dangerous if we go there 2-0 up. If you know what I mean, because I think they'll come at us.
I think we're going to draw at him and beat
I
them
think if
away.
it was nothing each
That's
apart,
what I've got a feeling. I'm betting.
Or even the 1-0.
Could be 2 draws,
Right.
away
You know what I mean?
goals.
I think we're
Okay.
going to score over there.
But you look at, I go back to, I agree with Stephen. I think for us to say, we're going to get through is just us getting a bit carried away. I think it's an exceptionally hard fixture. I don't think there are many teams that we could have got that were harder than Juve. When you look at Italian football's going through a bit of a recovery, a bit of a renaissance. They obviously got to the Euro Championships finals. Fair enough, they get well beat off Spain, but you'd probably say Spain are one of the best teams they've been for many years internationally. I think it's an exceptionally hard tie. The positives, you look at Barcelona, and when you beat Barcelona at Celtic Park, anything can happen.
Aye.
To be honest, we probably didn't deserve to beat Barcelona just 2-1 as it transpired. We lost a goal, the keeper made a great save. 2-0 at the end of the day would just have been fantastic. And on that basis, I think we are capable of actually taking 2 off the UV. All things going in the right direction on the night, and me getting a wee bit of rub of the green.
Right.
I think going over there, they've not lost many games. They are obviously flying.
Weekend off 10 men.
Yeah, they're obviously
10
flying.
men? Is that right?
They're flying in the league. They
Aye.
won the league very comfortably last season, so I don't think anyone should underestimate how good a team they are and how hard the task is. And frankly, if they get through this tie, in my view, it's as good, if not better, than the games against Barcelona.
Right.
And we obviously won one of those and we get beat one of those.
Aye.
Richard, I'll say something about this, right?
Yes.
I don't think Juventus were I want at Celtic in the draw.
You think so?
Well,
That's
that's
Shane Plantini.
I know the Celtic
Just
games,
because
yeah.
of the
I don't
Barcelona
think
game?
you see the management at Juventus, the
Uh-huh.
actual manager and that, I don't think neighbour I want at Celtic. Celtic's unpredictable this year.
Right.
That's what you've got to look, and that's a team that Juventus don't want to, because Juventus will get into the game being the big favourites,
Uh-huh.
and they might come short.
I
The
understand.
advantage for us, but is getting a team that we didn't want in a sense, and the psychology of it, thinking actually right.
Oh, we
we're
don't
going-
switch off.
Aye.
Like
So
a-
we're not thinking, oh, good, we've got Malaga. That's a good result. That's a good draw for us. So the and what you want, but is the reverse. You want Juventus to actually think, well, that's good. We've got Celtic, because the psychology for them being, I don't think they will, Brian. But even if there's a wee bit of them thinking we've got the Scottish champions, well, it could have been a hell of a lot worse. So the psychology of that, hopefully, is that they will slightly underestimate us.
I think
If
they'll
they
be
do-
delighted.
I agree. I don't agree with you, Brian. I think that looking at it, if they could have chosen a team, Celtic, I can't even remember who the other 7 teams were. They certainly wouldn't have wanted Real Madrid.
No.
They wouldn't have wanted. You look at that, and I would say we're probably one of the 2 teams that they would have actually handpicked, and possibly the one that they would have handpicked. Now, don't get me wrong. I think they'll give us all the respect we deserve because of our performances, particularly Celtic Park. They've come to Celtic
Exactly.
Park. They've experienced that. We beat them 4-3. Do you know what I mean?
Favourite.
It was phenomenal. I mean, that was a magnificent night at Celtic Park. So they'll give us all the respect, but that's different from saying that they will expect to go through fairly comfortably, I would think.
Well, I disagree with you, Kevin, to a certain extent, because the reason I would say that was they're going to a game now, they're going to undoubted favourites, and it's not like the Italian mentality to go forward.
Italian mentality. Oh, right, we played the racist card. Who had 1 hour, 12 minutes?
Italian mentality.
But their mentality is what you call it, is a defensive mode.
Right.
So they're having to go, they're the team that has to go forward all the time.
Right, gotcha.
So to me, that's a bad thing for them.
Right.
No, they've got players like Pirlo. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't say Pirlo's a defensive player. Fair enough, they've got a reputation for having very robust defenders that don't take any prisoners, but that's probably, I would make the argument that that's entirely different from being defensive or defensively minded.
It's just the years of watching Italian football, Kevin.
Aye. And seeing their kind of mindset.
I suppose you're a good bit older than me,
mindset,
so
oh,
about you now.
yeah, come on now. That's the ages
bit.
card played. That was 1 hour, 13 minutes. Right, let's jump into transfer window, which is where we are. What's thoughts and hopes and wishes and fears? What's going on? Cheers, Brian. We've heard about Paddy McCourt. You heard about this one? USA, Portland. It's a rumour, it's just a rumour. Celtic Underground tweeted that.
Chris Boyd.
No comment.
We're one of the teams in the US. Their mascot is called Marco van Bison. That's a big bison.
Oh, I like that.
Absolutely brilliant, man.
He's got too much time in his songs.
It actually might be Portland Timbers. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But I was absolutely brilliant. Marco van Bison.
The 2 young boys there are just
Right, the young team. If he goes, are you going to start a riot like you've been singing? Yeah.
Oh,
You're not going to be happy with that?
I don't want him to go. It's one
I
of the
don't want
things.
him
I know. Obviously, you can
If need be, aye.
If need be. Oh, see, he's been splitting you up already.
you can see where they're coming from if they let him go. Obvious reasons, but you just want him to stay. It's one of the ones you just want him to stay there, just in case he ever gets a.
Just so you can sing songs.
Just so you can.
I mean, if they can riot in East Belfast over flags, then surely we deserve to riot.
Dundee's farmers.
We survived the
Dundee
Dundee
was-
riots.
You survived, you're back in the Dundee
That was
riot.
on Manchester.
That was a mass riot.
Do you want to break into the Dundee riots? I told you this is unstructured. You know,
Sorry, there weren't no riots.
any. We're just moving on.
Aye, let's move swiftly.
Fair enough.
A guy fined for peeing in the street. That was it. That was
Kieran,
a
do you want
riot.
to comment on that?
Well, there was five
Were you
arrests.
busting? Were you?
Kieran wasn't there. There was five arrests in the stadium.
Yes.
Four from the Celtic, among the Celtic support that probably numbered more than 50% of the total crowd. One Dundee, the biggest piece of violence I've seen in the time I was there. And I drove up with my 12-year-old son and my 14-year-old daughter and my 15-year-old nephew. Was a Dundee steward being thrown down at least 10 flights of stairs in the Dundee end,
Oh my God.
which Jim Thompson, the Dundee operations manager, neglected to even mention.
Oh, nice.
The red mist came down in the big guy. I mean, he was a very big guy, and was ready to. He was running up the stairs for a confrontation with whoever had put him down the stairs, until a policeman caught the back end of his bib and managed to pull him down. He was irate. Seen somebody getting chucked out for smoking.
Is that not a free kick?
For smoking in the toilet. And I
that's
didn't
no
see. I'm
Dundee,
not saying there wasn't. I'm just saying that there was. Don't get me wrong, widespread drunkenness.
Aye.
But that time of the year, or on an evening kick-off, that didn't surprise me, knowing that lots of buses were leaving. But when you actually compare the coverage it's received through the outspoken comments of this
MSN.
Dundee operations manager, in comparison with what happened at the Sevco match against, I think it was Annan
one
or
week earlier or
Elgin,
something.
where there was 8 arrests.
Yep.
And there was mounted police used, as I understand it, and I've seen pictures of that from outside, and I don't think I've seen anything or heard anything in relation to
It was just classed as a
So,
protest about the name of the stadium and stuff.
I think that
Talk
just
about the
shows
stats
the
actually, because
operations.
you mentioned there the 4 arrests, and then Tayside Police apparently put out the stats saying 4 people were ejected from the stadium.
So it was 80.
Exactly. That was in Hogmanay, and then the Dundee press officer, whoever, put out 70, 80 people were ejected, and then that's exactly what the papers run with. Somebody was saying that this morning.
I don't know.
They were on the kind of Tayside Police side.
Who's surprised? You know,
I don't
it
even
was-
like talking to them.
Who's surprised?
The time of year it was Boxing Day, there was a lot of people just off work and they're off school. But
They're off school.
One of the major
Off school and baby. You know we've got a club president here, eh?
one of the major bones of contention I have is, and it's been happening for a while, and Brian and I spoke about it the other night, is that when people are bevied, they just are not aware of their surroundings. So there was people, and the guys weren't particularly out of order in terms of violence or obscene singing, but they were just, you're standing there with 3, 15, 14 and 12, and they were just effing and blinding all the time. The C word was getting used every 5 minutes, and that's what disappoints me actually more than we expect the press and the way it's reported to over-exaggerate it. I think that this Dundee guy's, I'd be interested to know, but I think he's got an agenda. He seemed to be, it was all reported the morning after in the paper, so he's obviously come out straight after the match, and he's entitled to his views, as I guess we all are. I'm just disappointed that Celtic fans feel the need to behave like that, and people maybe listen to this and say, well, don't take your kids to the football, don't take them back. They're the next generation. Celtic supporters, people don't need to act or use language in that way, and it's they might say it's been happening for 80 years.
I'm just laughing. Should go to Atlantic United to give me Friday night and then with 6
He's a special character, Frank, remember. And that's Slammer.
And then you've got Big Ian. Frank, the Wayne's there.
So he was.
I fucking know the Wayne's there.
that's explicit.
Oh, that's an explicit tag over. Playing all the cards tonight, I'll tell you. Right, that was cool. Aye, it's interesting. I like your opinions. Good guys. Let's get your thoughts on the bigger picture then, the league and the Sevco card. Right, I want your honest opinions on this. you've come to this halfway point, and when I look at tweets and Facebooks and blogs and everything else, there seems to be, kind of, in high level terms, three camps. There's your guys who are just delighted they died, they're out the road, the air is cleaner, sod a lot of them, I never want to play them ever again, not even in a friendly. There's the other extreme camp who say that they're missing them, they can't wait till it gets back, the football's crap, we've lost the edge, it's going to be boring, blah blah blah. And then there's a kind of middle ground who delighted that that club died, they know it's a new club, but they know that all those horrible supporters have moved across, and they love seeing them where they are, they love seeing them fall over every hurdle they come across, at the same time expecting them to come back up and looking forward to that point. So where would you kind of find yourselves in there? If I go to you, Brian, first of all.
A bit of two of them.
Right.
So, delighted that they're not in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I find it really amusing that they're still desperately cling on to try to say that they're the same club when it's patently obvious that Rangers went bust into liquidation, dead, and it's interesting times. I have to say, the league.
Have you missed it? Are you enjoying it?
I'm not missing their fans coming and abusing me. Like sectarian and racist singing.
Right, okay.
I don't miss that at all.
Yep.
Do I miss them as a team? No, not particularly. I've enjoyed the Champions League this season.
Yep.
I think there is naturally, because there's not as much close competition in the league, there is an edge taken off that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what, I would give that up every single day, that wee edge, than put up with what we've put up with for the last
Over
number of years.
Aye. Stephen, yourself? Glad they've gone? Can see them missing them? Do you want them back in some form? Or you want them? I want them to stay, but I want them to stay down there just so I can continually laugh at them and they'll die away like some third larrick club.
No, out my system, forgotten about them. Happy they are where they are. There's been some games this season I haven't even checked the result, not even heard the result until the next day. Brilliant.
Cool. Okay,
Keep
Kieran,
it that way.
what kind of camp you think you're in?
A bit the same as Brian. Glad that they're gone. However, they will come back at some point and we will play them.
Right.
And I hope that they're still in a right mess, so that for the first 20 times we play them, we absolutely hump them 5 and 6 nothing every time we play them, so we can just get it right up them.
Okay. Any guys different? Peter, what are you thinking?
The only thing I would say is we won't play them again. We'll play them for the first time.
That's true. We'll play Sevco. Yes.
I'm no missing them at all. It's quite a nice place to
Glad.
be. Aye, and actually, what I hope happens, I have a dream. What I hope
Well, I was thinking
my dream is that they're going through their cleansing now. I know it's not happening, but the dream is that they come back. They come back, and there's an element of them that will never die, if you like, in terms of their bigotry and sectarianism. But I'm hoping that there's a new breed will be born or whatever and come back cleansed, and actually come back.
That is a dream.
Well, actually, it's a dream, but it's my dream, and actually, I think there might be an element of the club that comes back that might not be quite as bad as the one that
Siege mentality.
Right, Vinny's got hope for human nature. Conley brothers shaking their heads at that one.
It was everyone else's fault, that's why it was worse.
Before Peter jumps in about the guys he's worked with, that's a great subject. Right. Wednesday was back at work, right, and I goes, and the guy who drives the mobile bus, right, I says, how you getting on? I says, Mona, I'll show you this text. See the one Jim Craney sent about, it's a continuous of 2013.
The Happy New Year. Right. It's not a new year.
So I showed him that, right.
2012.
I showed him that. I says, you'll not enjoy this one, but I showed him it anyway, right. I says, there you go, look at that. And I says to him, what do you think about it? Right, and he says to us, well, I'll not be back at another away game. And I looked at him, I said, what do you mean by another away game? Because he did go home and away.
Did he?
He says, well, I gave up my season ticket, but I bought the shares. Right, I says, all right.
Oh, Jesus.
I says, but I'll not be, seeing they get to the SPL, I'll not be in an away game.
Oh, brilliant.
And I went, why's that? just been innocently asking the question. I'll just not be there. And he just couldn't give me an answer to it, right?
Brilliant.
And I says, all right. I says, well, you're missing out on a lot then. And he went, I'll not be missing out on anything. And he just couldn't give me an answer. I just plain innocent to him. I was just asking her kind of stupid questions, waiting for me to come back in. But I couldn't do that. And I just said to myself, you're a 62-year-old man. Look at the fucking stage.
Peter, you're not seeing the human nature getting cleansed that you're working, no? No.
The Ku Klux gang meeting down there.
The flags protest.
the flags.
I'm not going on about that. The only thing that was missing, down there was a Catholic in the middle, and they could have burnt him at the stake. That's honest. That's what all that was missing was down there.
So the rage
They're
is still
worse.
there.
They will be worse when they come back.
Aye.
I disagree with Kieran. I don't want to get them and beat them 5 or 6-0.
Right.
Because you can imagine their carnage
Oof.
when we beat them 5 or. I'm telling you, Kieran. You imagine the carnage. I'm telling you now.
Aye.
That's all right. Kelly's is open back up.
I'm not just talking. They'd firebomb Kellys. They're that bad. They're away with it. You should hear the stuff. You maybe no mix. I have to mix with these people at work. And you want to hear the stuff they go away with. Peter Lawwell runs the press.
Oh, aye.
He's a man. They've what is it? The Daily Record. The Daily Record prints the Celtic View. This is the stuff they go away with. And they're going about this troops, save the troops, and wrap themselves around about the poppies and all this crap.
Pay their taxes.
Exactly, that's what I said to the boys. You support a team that was actively encouraging your employees not to pay tax. So they were.
Aye.
You know what I mean? So how does that work out? They were rolled. I mean, I was there one day. They rolled out Simon Weston. 15 years after the Falklands War, they rolled him out in the middle of the ground.
He's a big dangerous.
You know what I mean?
No, but even at the start of the season, this season, and the run up to the poppies, they had paratroopers coming down for the roof.
Did they not need to apologise to the Errol Haig Fund about that because there was a complaint that it wasn't in line. It wasn't a memorial service. It was almost a triumphant version of celebrating war.
I just think they'll be worse. Honestly, I do.
They will be.
They've got a chip in their shoulder now. That's why there are 40,000 turning up at Ibrox. Forget about much it costs. It's not a do with that. It's this big chip they've got at their shoulder.
Right.
The boys, the better guys down at Leaf for Carluke have hardly been at a Rangers game for years. They're going there all of a sudden.
It's a show of defiance, a show of no surrender.
It's a walk. Young team, wrap us up with a Sevco mob. Missing them. Chuffed to bits they're away.
There's a part of me, I'm chuffed to bits they're away, but I really do hope we get drawn against them or something.
No. Just a wee kind of one-off or something.
I do, because
you're not.
Give a good rattling.
You want to rattle that,
I just think it's a lose-lose situation. If we give a good rattling, there's carnage everywhere, and if we get beat with them, God forbid, that would be possible. I think it's a lose-lose. I would rather just not even.
But in the future, we are going to play them sometimes.
But you don't want them in the cup because you don't want them
the money.
You don't want them to get the money. You don't want to get them.
Charles would knock it back.
Charles would knock it back.
Surely the game was at Park Heady would knock it back.
Point of principle.
He's another. Just while we're moving on, he's
stoking.
See the one team in Scotland. See if I run this table and I said the one team in Scotland who you would say has caused trouble with nobody. They've been one of the nicest. It's Dundee United.
Correct.
Nobody would say they've got a problem with Dundee United. I don't know another team in the country that's got. And there's Rangers. Rangers have not got a problem with Dundee United. Boy, I said Charles going to stoke this up.
Nice wee target.
Well, see, that they didn't take the tickets. I couldn't understand that because the Rangers fans were saying it was based on what had happened with the previous cup game. But Rangers had already played them 2 or 3 times since that game and went. They hadn't boycotted. So now all of a sudden
it's a new boycott.
Well, to be fair, they did go last season towards the end of the season, and I think they only filled about a third of the ground because I can remember the pictures of that fair play stand. The fair play stand was empty, but I think that was just because they were shite and
administration.
I see the problem you've got when they played in Dundee.
About that. The way to call it, the park's going to be a riot and all that. Segregation and that. Am I missing something? Do they not normally sell the tickets straight to the fans?
Yeah, there's always a fair play stand, and they've done it with Celtic because we were in there at the end of last season, and they've got an area of the ground But Dundee United sell the tickets to Celtic or as it was then Rangers directly. Not all the tickets for our end go down and are distributed through Celtic, because there's quite a lot of Celtic fans up in Dundee and the surrounding area.
The problem I've got with Dundee is all the knuckle scrapers might go. No, just to go up there
The
because
real
they're right
bad
outside the
ones.
ground.
Aye, the right bad core.
You know, with
But
his
it's
comments.
It's in his interest, but financially that's why he's dead.
Of course
Yeah,
it
of course it is.
Of course
Vincent,
it is.
aye,
He's just...
of
He's
course it
appealing
is.
to the lowest common
But
denominator.
he's also
That's
got a
exactly
responsibility.
right. That's
He's also got a
exactly-
responsibility, Vincent.
But he doesn't give a
he
shit.
should
You know what I mean?
I think his responsibility, the only responsibility he sees is lining in his own pocket. And
he's already done
board anyway.
it. He's already done it because he's 20 grand loan that he put in, he got him a million shares at 70
million
pence a share when they had the money for 3 months or something like that.
Aye.
So that's already happened. He could walk out tomorrow selling those shares and just drop them in the exchange tomorrow and walk out with 5 or 6 million quid.
Very true.
And the only thing that's keeping him there is the fact that he thinks he can actually get another 50 or 100% on top of that.
Because they're thick enough to buy them. Right, boys, let me bring you back into the transfer window mob. Thanks for your opinions there. We've got Rami Gershon, this Israeli defender potential deal. We've got Hilder Barbosa, talked about, he's in, he's out, we're going for him, we're not going for him, etc.
See someone say they thought Rami Gershon was signing for Dundee on Twitter today. Rami and Dundee.
Oh, jeez, oh dearie.
Aye, move on.
Take a tumbleweed moment. You can edit that.
I can edit that.
You can leave that in. That's a tumbleweed down the road. Don't let that.
I'll take you in, I'll put it in one of his podcasts.
Leave it in there.
Any thoughts on those particular boys? Anybody excited with the names?
I don't know much about them, to be honest.
We went for
I'm-
the boy Barbosa at the end of the last transfer. No,
Yes.
Sorry,
It's a guy that Lenny's been kind of looking at quite a few times.
Was it Braga?
So I'm as
Yep,
excited
Braga.
about those names as I was when I heard that Victor Wanyama was joining Celtic
Exactly.
and Efe Ambrose and some of
Leo
the
Moravchik.
and some of the other players. So.
Well, these
Even
guys.
Hooper. There was a,
And John Park we trust.
And John, oh, I like that. Can I write that down? And John
There was
Park.
talk of a guy for Leeds United, is it Leeds or something like that?
Tom
He came
Lees,
in
aye.
today. Tom Lees, was it?
Big centre half.
Centre half.
Any thoughts for this window? Are we looking for a certain player or just a certain area?
I'd quite like to come out
Left back?
unscathed. I'd quite like to come out without losing rather
You're
than
more interested in that,
necessarily-
right? Okay.
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to come out unscathed.
Right.
And it's who we're going to lose.
Yeah, right. Any
It's-
particular fear?
There's always a fear with Wanyama.
Right.
Kayal's obviously been spoken about.
And at least
There've been-
Wanyama's going to be a money thing.
Would have been speaking about potentially Hooper. I've seen some things on Twitter.
Aye.
But to be honest, there's so much crap going about just now
It's silly season,
that
isn't it?
I think we could afford to lose Kyle. If we were going to lose MD, I don't think I would particularly mind losing Kyle.
Right.
I don't know if I would agree with that.
Any guys, Stephen, any you look for or any area you want filled or you just want to sail through it with nothing coming in or out?
I'm still going back to my ingredient up front that I don't know what it is, but we definitely need something up front. We need we need something different up front. Aye.
you and I spoke about this, I'm sure, after the Hibs game. And I think Stokesy coming back might make a difference now. I think the context I gave it was, I don't think he's a Champions League player. And I think we've proved that we can compete at that level, and we've got Hooper putting the ball in the net. He scored a few goals in the Champions League, obviously the away games and stuff. I would equate a bit to, it was mentioned earlier on in the context of the team in the American MLS. Boyd didn't score against Celtic. He never scored against, in inverted commas, the big teams, but he was a top scorer for a couple of seasons in a row because he banged goals in against the lesser teams. And I think that's what we're potentially missing. Stokesy coming in the team and playing against the Hibs, the Motherwells, the Ross Counties, I think might have a field day and might actually relieve a bit of the pressure.
Aye, you give us that drive and energy that Vincent's talking
When's he
about.
due
The push. When's he due back, did you say?
Tweeted that game would be the last game we would miss.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll be back in the squad.
I've also got Thingy coming back, isn't it? Mo Bagheera.
Bang bang. Oh,
The sheriff's coming back.
Is he actually back?
The young
Aye,
team
he's
sheriff
back.
is back.
He's back.
Yep.
So he's actually been back at Celtic Park for over a month now.
Pictured at Lennoxtown.
A week into December, was it?
He's back.
Aye.
Almost back.
Yeah, there you go. Bang, bang.
So
he's
yeah,
back.
I don't think
We're well covered.
I don't think he's.
Move on through the window.
I don't think he's got any chance of playing. He's not even. I've not even seen him mentioned anywhere for the
He's
last
been
4
scoring
weeks.
goals when he was away. Aye, no since he got
He
back.
was
What's this? Come back?
Aye, when he was away.
When he was away.
Aye.
I didn't.
Okay,
I didn't even know he
You've
was
got the
back.
stats, haven't you?
I've
You've got the stats.
You scored him.
The one that intrigues me is Miku, because I think Miku could be that number 10 guy. And see against Barcelona, I thought he was absolutely outstanding. But I just don't know if he's got the right mentality. Is he the kind of guy that's going to take a season to bed in when we've not got him for a season?
Yeah.
I think he is the guy that could be the difference. But I don't know that he's got the mentality to play in Scotland or whether he's chucked it already. I don't know.
Definitely doesn't deserve a number 7 shirt.
Well,
Based
I
on
think we lack a
yeah,
bit of creativity. When Chris Coleman's isn't playing,
Yes.
they
Right.
really struggle with any creativity in the middle.
Right, any kind of change at
just
all.
behind the strikers. So I don't. That's what I would. If,
we
we
could-
were
if we
going to
could
sign
fill a gap.
someone,
Right.
that would be
They were talking about a guy the weekend there. That was paper talk, obviously.
Quelme.
No, the guy.
Eramenko's
The
brother.
guy, aye.
Oh,
The
really?
boy that was at
For
Kilmarnock,
Ruben
Eramenko,
Kazan.
his other brother. But he's
see, the only thing about us getting
4
that kind
million
of number
quid,
10.
£4 million or something.
He's in 40 grand a week.
40 grit.
The only thing about us getting a number 10, it's a bit like the Martin O'Neill when we always thought, right, we need somebody in there, and he had maybe players in there that, playmakers, if you like. Lennon would probably need to change the way he sets out the team to
I
accommodate
don't
that.
know, because he has it with
Do you know what I mean?
Commons quite
aye.
often plays that role, and I have to say he's very good in that role, but he's
I don't know that
had quite a
he
few
gives him that
injuries.
number 10 role, but I don't know that he gets a bit of a free rein or whatever. I think when he plays Commons, is more tied to a position than what we're talking about is somebody that could be a bit more creative, if you like. You know what I mean?
It would be nice to see wee Forrest coming back and actually establishing
Bring that other
himself.
line.
I really don't like when Commons plays over on the right hand side of the pitch. I think
Right.
we absolutely lose something that we get when he's coming in from the left or playing a bit of a more central floating role.
Right.
So I'd like to see Forrest come back, but I still go back to, should we lose someone, and it only takes you to decide like, okay, Kayal's going to go and he goes away in the middle of January or the last week in January, and then you're under pressure until the window closes because you can't afford to get someone else. But we know what players are like in this day and age. They hold lots of the aces no matter how long they've got to go in their contract.
Yep.
And you could just get somebody comes in for a 11th hour bid, struggling in the Premiership, or offers Big Wanyama 60 grand a week. Celtic get an offer. They don't want to sell him, but the player makes it clear he wants to go. And I think we also spoke about this, Stephen, is the fact that you could get to the summer and think there's going to be a bidding war, but the player at that point just make the decision. I want to go to Man U. I'm telling you, I want to go to Man U. I don't care if Liverpool offer Celtic double what Man U offer. That's where I'm going to go, and I'm going to hold out. So I'm not going to go anywhere else unless you accept that offer. And it just then becomes a game of brinkmanship. We can't afford that.
No.
Because we need players in for the Champions League qualifiers.
Well, we're also in a strong position with Wanyama. He's under contract, so...
You're not, Vincent. You're
Well,
only
I disagree. If he's
strong
under
enough.
contract, he's under contract. I know what you're saying, he could sit it out, but I don't think he would sit
He just
it out.
downs tools. It was shocking against Hibs. It was. You've already said yourself. He was very, very poor against Motherwell. Players don't think twice in this day
I
and
know
age.
they hold the aces, but at the end of the transfer window, if a big bid comes in for Man United and we don't want to take it, we don't need to take it. That's what I'm saying. He's got a bit of power, but we can still decide whether we're going to
We've
sell
got
him
it
or
as
not.
well.
So we're prepared to take the risk of a Nizagiri happening, where he then goes from a £10 million player to a £1 million player because he downs
I
tools
don't think
and he's no
Nizagiri
cared.
ever was a £10 million player. That was in the papers.
Stephen, what
It
you
was
want to
certainly
say?
worth more than £1 million.
I was just going to say exactly the same thing. I think the problem that we've got is that the big ticket players will have a price tag,
Right.
and if a bid comes in January that hits the price tag, I think the player will be sold.
Right.
We've
That's
already,
it.
we've already discussed this in podcasts. There's £6 million.
Triggers it. That's it.
To me.
The board just walks in.
I think it depends on the player.
We said that at the start of the season, £6 million. I know you're looking for a wee bit more for certain players, but £6 million, it starts a ball game with Celtic.
If we get £6 million for Paddy McCourt, I think I'd
By the way, I was talking about the playmaker. You two should have jumped in there. You can be playing the playmaker. I was waiting you two jumping in.
Oh, God. Right, okay, though, boys. I'll wrap these up by jumping into your shambolic section then. Brian, you're going to give us a live? You're going to give us a wee live version?
What?
Sharp, come on, do your shambolic, man. Come on.
Shambolic.
There you are.
Live.
Live. And direct. I need
No
you.
expense.
Absolutely, Brian. No, the one for right.
Thanks, Chico. You forgot the thanks there, Chico.
Thanks, Chico. I'll cut that out. Fantastic, Chico. Right, what I did give the boys for this week was a wee phrase which was simply Celtic icon or Celtic icons.
Don't start with Stephen because you just know he's got to say
No,
Tommy
no,
Burns, so you
I
get
know.
around it.
He's going to be like the time he taught me how to fish and all that kind of stuff. Now, to relax.
He went fishing with Tommy Burns.
Has he not told you that story? Oh, wait to hear this.
What was it?
Wait to hear this story. Now,
On the phone, or was it?
before that, so the listeners know where we're
Was it
starting from
fishing
here.
of men?
What I said to the boys was Celtic icon, not just a simple thing. Oh, aye, icon, iconic figure, aye, Henry Glarson's, Jimmy McGrory, aye, very good. What I meant was pick out a player that is iconic as Celtic for you. So, is it a player that played a certain way? Is it a manager that behaved a certain way or had certain tactics? Was it the guy as a man, how he behaved with the press, etc., etc.? Anything that kind of tied into that figure. So that's what I gave the boys, and we shall see what we've got. So let's go. Let's go young team. Let's start fresh and kind of recent.
Try to look at mine.
Fresh and recent Celtic icons.
This has got to be a controversial one, right?
Oh, Kenny Miller.
I've already done that happen before, I think.
Shambolic.
Right, but it was a manager. I didn't really like him as a manager and the style he played, but I liked him as he was a Celtic icon, right? Gordon Strachan.
Yes, very well.
Totally,
Right.
100%.
Well done.
Okay, yeah.
And do you know what makes me say this, right?
Right, go for it.
I was sitting watching, like, it was Christmas, the day after Christmas Day or something, and I was watching on Sky Sports 2, there was Boxing Day. That's
you just in, that was Boxing Day.
Day after Christmas is Boxing Day.
It was
It's Stephen's Day if you don't mind.
TikTok breaking news. Right. Okay, Boxing Day. Stay with us, man. Don't
I
let them
watched
push
this
you off.
hanging Sky Sports 2, and it was about it was like 2003 Christmas Day special,
Right.
And you wouldn't have seen Charlie Nicholas with his black hair
Oh,
and all that.
no thanks, no
Right,
thanks.
but and they showed you a wee clip of Gordon Strachan,
Right.
and just the way he goes about talking, I think I love the guy. I think he's
Right.
just the way he talks. He's dead truthful, and the time he was at Celtic, I think he summed them up.
Because he knows much what he said when he left. But for me, what he
defending.
actually said when he came back, the next season, he said I wasn't a Celtic fan when I joined.
started,
but I'm sure as hell one now, and every opportunity he gets to speak about Celtic now,
As a pundit.
he bigs them up, and it's
Aye.
fantastic.
Have you never seen anyone in the press speak so affectionately and positively about Celtic?
Uh-huh.
You compared how Gordon Strachan is to Craig Burley, Charlie Nicholas,
Andy Walker.
Oh my God.
the other John Hartson.
Do you know?
It's just unbelievable.
Do you know my biggest disappointment with that is that I wish he had shown a little bit of that when he was our manager. That disappoints me
I know
about
what you
him.
mean. I know what you mean.
Okay. Fair
Stephen,
enough.
I would say
Fair enough.
he didn't realise till he left Celtic how much he
I think
liked
that's what it is.
No, that's a fair point as well.
No, I think he
Maybe
just didn't want to
quite
court it when he was
realise.
there. Maybe
He just
you know, he's
didn't.
that kind of. He didn't want to.
Wasn't it a badge kisser type
Aye.
thing?
Aye.
Right,
It
okay.
might have come across as being a bit
Aye.
sycophantic.
But see, now I'm a big fan, by the way. I'm a fan.
Oh,
of
I love him.
Must have been a
No,
lot
but do you know what I mean?
of
If he was saying that while he was
I
there,
don't need to be a fan, but
see if he was saying no, but see if he was saying that while he was there, it would have maybe no.
He done a great thing when seeing with Celtic manager. I said it was at the Kilmarnock. We won the league down at Kilmarnock. When then they started bringing Waynes out for the crowd
Aye.
to walk around. I thought that was fantastic.
Remember, was it his first one at Celtic Park where he
I've
brought
just got to
the
bring
backroom
backroom
staff
stuff.
and
The tea
cleaners?
lady and
Aye.
bring them all out.
That was pretty
Better
special.
the tea lady.
He's come out with a number of things. His statement about after Tommy Burns passed away, and he says that about all the trophies he'd won, and he says that the greatest thing that has ever happened to me joining this club wasn't the trophies we've done and the success in the Champions League. It was being able to count Tommy Burns as one of my friends.
Aye, class.
Things like that. Do you know what I mean?
He spoke about the
controversial. Wasn't it controversial?
He spoke about the day he went fishing with Stephen. He spoke about the day he went fishing with Stephen and Tommy. So there you go. It wasn't controversial. Cracker, right?
Surprised at that.
Second half of the young team. Where are you going? And don't say back
You're not
to
beating that, son.
I'll let you flip one out of thin here.
Right, go round and get back to him.
A lot of pressure. You want us to come back to you?
Because right at the start you go, there'll be no Larsons or McGrory's. You can't.
No, I wasn't meaning that. I just meant don't automatically
That's
just
not
think,
what I picked, but I'm still thinking about it.
poster boy figure.
You can just come back to me.
Okay, if it right, jump right to the other side. Kieran,
Mine's is also a manager,
right?
and it has to be Martin O'Neill.
Mr. O'Neill, the Messiah.
Came to Celtic whenever we were a wee bit down in our luck. He came in, and I read his book, and I found it amazing what he said to the players in the players' lounge whenever he arrived. And he said, "I'm going to go out there and I'm going to tell the media that Rangers are the benchmark, but I'm telling all you in here, Rangers aren't the benchmark, and we're going to win this league." And then went out, faced the media, and said, "Well, we just need to strive to try and beat Rangers.
Close the gap.
Aye, they're the benchmark. all we can do is strive to try and be as good as them." Well, all the time he was telling his own players, "We're absolutely going to win this league, and we're going to run over the top of them.
I'll protect you for the
There was
press.
also an interesting story in the same book where he met Brian Quinn in the tunnel before the 6-2 game.
Right.
And Brian Quinn says to him, "How are we going to go today, Martin?" And he's like, "Easy, 4-0.
Is that right?
And,
I never read.
And they
See.
then went on and destroyed Rangers 6-2.
What a game that was.
Also had the chance where to meet Martin O'Neill a couple of times at a question and answer session, and just his whole kind of the way he held the room, the way he answered questions or didn't answer questions, a complete politician.
Totally.
Lawyer.
And I think he is.
Right.
He came at a time where it was a bit difficult. He built a great team. He gave us great memories in terms of going to Seville,
Took us back to Europe.
winning leagues. Probably the best team that I had seen up to that point as a Celtic supporter. I think Neil Lennon's team are coming very close to what Martin O'Neill done, but
like it.
an absolutely iconic person.
Gave us our
for
pride
me.
back.
Yes.
Gave us our pride. That's
Gave
a
us
good
our pride
tagline.
back.
I like that. Presidente, Celtic Icons.
Okay, come back to
He's
me.
getting
Come back to you as well, for crying
most of
out
our
loud.
history to pick from.
The Aegis card was played earlier. Can't play it.
115 years, not 125.
Right, we'll juke
Well,
to your brother.
I could roll out guys like David Moyes when he played at centre half.
We can all do that.
Come on, no, you can't do that. Brian,
Roddy, I remember my dad telling me
can we
about
let me Brian for the wrong side of the light stock here?
Danny McGrain.
Nice, Brian. Nice.
Okay, Doc.
Danny McGrain.
What is it about him?
Ultimate professional.
Right.
Footballing. And he got messed about with Scotland because they had to move him across to left back to East Sandy Jarden a couple of caps. You know what I mean? But Danny McGrain played with Celtic. I don't know exactly how many games he played, right? But ultimate professional. Played with, I think it was the diabetes he had.
Yep.
Played to cope with all that at the time when it wasn't like medically new.
Aye.
Fractured
Everyone's
skull as well, didn't he?
What?
That's how we
With a
discovered
fractured skull.
diabetes.
Aye.
I read his book.
And would you call it? To me, Danny McGrain.
Nice touch, nice
good one,
touch.
good
Okay,
one.
okay. Kev? No, we skipping you as well. What is this?
I was going to say Lubo,
It's hard to pick.
however,
However.
and then I was going to say something, and then
Oh, don't start.
probably of my generation growing up, it was Paul McStay.
there is
The maestro.
Nick mine.
And it was the man never got the trophies that and medals that he deserved. The ones probably Scotland caps as well that he deserved. He was by far and away in his generation the best player.
Aye. The
Played-
homeboys were
played-
speaking very fondly of him just recently.
Played in a pure Celtic team,
Uh-huh.
and to be honest, probably suffered through his love of Celtic in terms of his development as a football player
Aye.
and his ability to go on to a higher level than we were providing them at that time.
Yeah.
The opportunity to go to Juve, didn't he?
That's right.
And I can remember I was in Gran Canaria the season his contract had run out, and the song at that point,
Please Don't Go.
Please Don't Go. And it was, you were in the Irish Boozers, and it was when that came on, it was just like, Paul, we love you so, we want you to know.
Can you imagine,
Please
can you
don't
imagine,
go.
imagine where the club would have been if Paul McStay had left then? Actually, the reason it was in fresh in my memory was with the Celtic Underground podcast. The guys were talking about it.
Oh,
They were
right.
talking about Paul McStay for quite a length of time. So I was reminiscing and just remember, and you forget how good a player Paul McStay was. Paul McStay was a world class.
He broke into the team at 18. He scored in his debut at Pittodrie.
Right through the ranks.
Just great. And Lubo, from a footballing perspective, you look at him and you just think he epitomised a Celtic player, 2-footed, just
trapping the ball with his arm.
Just class. There's so many you can go through.
Exactly. Right, Vinny, if you had the maestro, is there any particular memory that
took
pops
another
in your
one.
head?
I had a few reserves. I had.
Oh, jeez.
There was tons actually.
Look at his list.
You can pick one of them.
Actually, McGrain was on my list as well. Danny McGrain. The dead obvious one is obviously Big Billy through captain and managing twice. And actually, the part of that podcast we were just talking about the centenary season. So I was flooding right back to all of that. And what Big Billy did that season was absolutely fantastic. But the one I'll go with is Neil Lennon, actually, a right up to date one. And just thinking through what Neil Lennon's doing now as a manager and how he's learned to be a successful manager. And I think he is successful already, but I think he's going to be even more successful.
Got the growth in front of him.
And when you think what that guy's came through, I don't know if there's many people would have stuck with a club, no matter how much you love Celtic, would have actually stuck through what that guy's went through. And I think a lot of it has never actually made the press and the mainstream media. Getting moved out of your house 2-3 times a week for a period of months with young children and all of these kind of things, you cannot fathom what that guy's went through.
Assaults not at his work, assaults at his work, bomb threats, people being jailed and
actually
attempted murder.
For a lot of time, I criticised him when he did so many things I didn't think he should have did. But everybody's got an opinion. But actually, looking at the guy now, he's very much the status.
That iconic status. Right, okay. You mentioned Caesar. We actually had a telephone vote from Mr. C from his sickbed. That was his, so he can wax lyrical the next time he's on.
Peter Grant?
No, he never. There you go. That's a good point. That's all you bring up with him.
I was thinking he was coming tonight to see if he was going to say that. I was going to.
You were going to walk out. You're going to have a flag protest. Right, talking to Peter. Peter.
Well, if you're talking Celtic icons,
that's what we're talking about, Peter.
It's who you pass on to your kids.
Oh, right, okay. Here we go.
So obviously Thomas has never seen Jimmy Johnson.
Right.
But you know what I mean? I'm passed on it. Jimmy, getting to a statue, gets his photo taken with Jimmy Johnson.
Brilliant.
Number 7 is back. So who's that for, Dad? It's Jimmy Johnson.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Watch a DVD. Get that off. Right.
Henrik Larsson's the same. Henrik Larsson. Number 7. That's what I was trying to say there. Don't deserve a number 7. That
Right, that kind of stuff.
Because I tell Thomas I was retired. That was only they two. It was good number 7. You know, that was it. Retired. And then all of a sudden this Miku appears with number 7 in his back.
You're not happy.
So obviously Billy McNeil's Mr. Celtic. He is the icon.
Right.
I mean, if they say any of our generation, who is it? Who's
Right.
Mr. Celtic? Billy McNeil.
So I would say that possibly the most iconic picture that's ever been taken
an image.
is the image of him standing there in the Stadio Nacional. It's probably
Sorry, we're all just
the
assuming
one
about Joe
that's
Steen, by the way, because that would have been my...
Well, this is it. Aye, there's so
That'd have
many
been right up there, I'm
people
assuming.
vying for it. Maybe Brian's going to mention Jock. I don't know. Brian.
When you had put this out, you obviously think other people are going to pick up the obvious ones.
He's like.
But young Andy there, I had thought of Gordon Strachan just with the affection
Right.
he speaks
Okay.
about Celtic. And you've all mentioned some great names, and I couldn't disagree with any of them.
Is there any
But it's a wee bit
a
different
particular story, or you want to
as
pick a different
rather
name?
rather than a person, is the organisation, the Celtic Graves Society.
Yeah.
Is an icon
Nice
of
played.
Celtic.
Right,
in
okay,
terms
the
of,
work they do.
the whole ethos of the club, what we started from, and what we continue to this day. And I've had the privilege of meeting a couple of the guys and how they speak about the work. They've got such humility about the work that they do. And I was lucky enough to get a ticket to the Mass.
The
this
125th
celebration that they ran.
Nice one.
And it was just it's up there with the finest Celtic experiences I've had. And that night, for me, will live long in the memory. I went to Kevin's house after it, I had the programme for him, and I was talking about it. And I couldn't speak highly enough about it. And the work that they do, they're true Celtic icons in my eyes.
Nice one. CelticGraves.com or at Celtic Graves. Obviously, in fact, we interviewed Jim Blythe.
It was Jim.
Just when you say humility, you couldn't get the boy to say the great work he was doing. He just kept passing
it
it
was
on.
everyone else that was doing it.
Unbelievable.
It was just fantastic. That's right.
Aye. Now, before we finish with fishing lessons, let's go to the second half of the young team. You need to build a story on it. Have you thought of him?
Aye, it's a bit of a lesser one to half of the names you mentioned because you've took all the good ones. But
if you want to pick one, that's cool, and then you can tell
Jackie
a different story.
McNamara.
Oh, Jackie! Because
underrated as a player off the pitch. Anytime he's ever been interviewed, I can remember just being young, watching him. It's as if he just didn't want to say a bad word about anything. He didn't want to muck it. I just wanted to say good stuff about everybody. Any interview I can just remember, that's what I'm just thinking back.
Right, so it was the way he portrayed himself and
anytime
behaved.
He captained the club, he kind of...
Right.
It's just on the park, he looked like a leader.
Right.
And maybe not the word icon, but, you know, he's a bit of a...
One of those iconic figures in your mind anyway, through seeing
kid,
Celtic teams. Good.
That's a good one.
Good man. Right, Stephen, finish us off. Take us over the finish line.
I don't know where the fishing stories came, but
now, if you want to keep that private, that's cool, I understand. Who are you picking? Is it the man?
it is indeed.
It
yes.
is the man, okay.
Mr. Tommy Burns, and I could probably go on for a full podcast about him, so I won't. So,
but you couldn't last longer than Vinny, though.
Please don't make that a bet.
The podcast, sorry.
Hey. And we've played the innuendo card at 1 minute 56. 1 hour 56, you say, sorry. So, what in particular about him? His manner, his style, the playing ability, the management? What's the things for him? What makes Tommy Burns? All of that.
Just everything. He
Ticks
was
all the
in
boxes.
he was in the team. He was in the team when I started watching Celtic. Always think about him in particular in relation to the centenary season as well. I remember he was...
That interview you always remember.
Yeah.
On
For Big John Paul in the hospital, what we see on Sunday.
What was he said? They're always there, and God bless every one of them.
They'll always be there.
Just fantastic.
They captured it.
Superb.
I think the only disappointment, I guess probably everyone has, going back to the Paul McStay comparison as well, is the fact he only had the one Scottish Cup as manager. You know, barring a couple of wee breaks in the ball,
Refereeing decisions.
One less CBT.
A wee bit of cheek as well.
I was actually going to say, after Stephen was finished, could I just fling one in just to bring a smile to his face? With Celtic Icons, the three amigos.
The three amigos, right, okay.
Cadete, Di Canio and Big Pierre. You know what I mean? And if Di Canio were stayed in our season, 2 seasons, he would have been an icon.
Even
he was as bad as a brush.
What a team that was, though. I mean, you know, Andy Tom as well.
Andy Tom.
Iconic, the golden boots.
The golden boots, Aberdeen.
That's right.
That was a big
Shoulder for me a bit.
I mean, I've got to say the only downside to Tommy Burns was he was a bit of a bad loser. Because I remember it was like at Seaman.
That's what Coley's saying that.
We played the New Year's Day 5-a-side tournament at Seamill Hydro when we went for the over the bells.
Right.
And his team was Packy Boner, his son Tommy, Packy's son and one of their friends,
right.
and the Macaulays gubbed them. I think we beat them 4-2 or 4-3.
Is there video evidence? Or?
The cat was in goal.
The cat was in goal.
I scored by Paddy Bonner. Kenny Donald's got to butter it and he dived, and I just managed to dink it round him, and Tommy was getting off his dinger off it. So that night at dinner, they used to, there was the award, the presentations for the teams that went, and it transpired, I don't know how, but we ended up in we got beat with somebody that we should never get beat with, so they actually topped the group. Right. But our claim to fame was that they used to win it every year, and that we gubbed them.
We rattled that mob.
We rattled them. And we never tired of reminding Tommy Burns, and we had the privilege that night of him singing Mac the Knife down in the bar and stuff.
Oh,
it was
fantastic.
He was just an amazing gentleman. Mr. Celtic.
That's it. So
a beautiful man.
Story, Stephen.
A beautiful man.
So in 90 years' time, the Celtic Grave Society are going to erect a statue with the three Macaulay brothers. The day they beat
I don't think
the
I need to
Burns.
wait 90 years.
It's for the funds, so they get a right statue.
We're just renaming the South Stand.
God. Oh, brilliant. Right, lads, that was fantastic. Well done. We will wrap that up. Thanks to everyone for taking part. That was your wee special winter break edition
not so
of Tic
special.
Talk, or not so special. It's up to yourself. You decide. You decide. When will we be back? I don't know. I'm probably going to be on leave pretty soon because
Why is that?
the good lady is about to produce Swan Baby number 3, so that's why we've had these hot shots.
We'll be back.
In the host sheet, so we'll see when they step up. I don't know if there's anybody throwing their hat in the ring for the next one.
Aye, I'll do the next one.
Vinny's doing the next one. There you go. So at some point you'll have Tic Talk.
Does anybody want to volunteer to go there? Come on, somebody put a hand up.
Anybody?
You don't need anyone when Vince
Oh, do you need folk on it? Sorry.
We're moving about sheets.
Changing his voice.
Maybe we'll do it in the shower.
You don't need folk on it.
Whoa, yeah, whoa. It's not like a podcast. So, with that, we'll be back with you some point. But thanks a million. So, on the panel tonight, we have had
Stephen,
Vincent.
Kieran, Brian, right side of the lights.
Peter.
Kevin.
Andy.
Scott. DJ Mac.
fantastic, and I'm Richard. So, thanks a million. Speak to you the next time. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail. Hail.
The thing I want to see the most is the Glasgow Celtic score. I've been to Munich, been to Paris and Berlin. I watched injustice fall upon you in Turin, and I've shared the pain and glory with the friends that I have made as I dance from place to place in green and white on a worldwide temporary.